Oh god, this is just all insane. The rise and fall of Donald Trump, the subreddit that helped plan Charlottesville.
At some point, there will be wars between the Catholic atheist and the Protestant atheists.
How Dave Rubin
living in Northern Ireland. That's like
into
unironically
PYT spin-off into the Fox
that's
News
like
Live.
unironically a thing.
All right, well, let's get started. This will take a while. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 167. How Hideo Kojima and Metal Gear Solid made me a leftist. Now, before we begin, we're just going to make the disclaimer that video games do not cause you to do things like change your identity or cause you to go on a certain path in life. They could influence you to think a certain way for a small amount of time. Like, hey, what was the Cold War like back in the day? And you might want to do some research or whatever. But they don't actively cause you to seek out violence or cause violence or be a sexual deviant or this or that. So already to claim that Hideo Kojima, as crazy a genius as Kojima is, I'll give him his crazy, zany passion for movies and video games. I don't think he or his work ever made me want to do anything aside from go to bed and go, what the hell was I doing shooting a man covered in bees with a shotgun?
Actually, this guy has been a triple, quadruple agent the whole time.
Oh my God.
He worked for the Russians. Nobody actually worked for the Americans. He actually worked for the Chinese. No, actually worked for the Americans thinking he was working for the Chinese.
He takes every trope he can imagine for an action-adventure story, does the stinger again, and then has the theme song music to sound like a Bond show. It's just over-the-top, crazy, silly stuff.
Patching it through.
And that's fine.
I fucking love it.
It's hilarious. You can enjoy the spectacle. I get it. But if you think...
I love the insanity. I just love how insane it is.
If you think there's some intelligence, that, there's some deep meaning, it's like, not really. There's really not that much depth to it. And you can look and appreciate his obsession with war and nuclear bombs and that. It's a whole Japanese thing. That I can totally understand. But... the rest of it is all silly, I would say less than adolescent levels of content. Like we're talking about Power Rangers.
Some of the Japanese have had very negative experiences when it comes to nuclear bombs and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Like losing 2 major cities.
Well, they're not necessarily lost, more just...
destroyed.
Knocked down. It's like knocking down dominoes and then... They put them back up again, not too long later.
Oh, God. Heavily irradiated. Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah, they're back.
Well, they weren't heavily irradiated, really. A lot of the radiation was kind of dissipated quite quickly.
I just recently saw a picture of in some places in Nagasaki or the other place there are quote-unquote shadows. Yeah, thank you. Shadows that are burnt into the ground from the blast. Which looks kind of weird.
All right. Well, okay, guys. We should get started. This is going to take a while. So I'm predicting about 3 hours, even if we want to continue. And that might not even be half, depending on how crazy he goes. So we have covered the cavernal... blah, blah, blah. Sorry, his name. The Cavernacle. So he has a lot of strange videos. Let me just go through because I was going through this before with you guys. How anti-SJW gaming culture is part of the pipeline to the alt-right, the gay fascists of the alt-right, and the history of gay Nazis from Ernst Holm to Milo Yiannopoulos. Why so many neo-Nazis are pagans. I mean, these are just crazy, crazy topics. This one's almost 100K, and it's a week old. Why so many bronies and furries are neo-Nazis. Now, maybe he's got some pipeline into the world of neo-Nazis that the rest of us are like, oh, yeah, you just look at a convention, and there they go. Considering 2020 was, wasn't much of anything, so maybe this is...
You see, that's how they get you. They turn you into a brony or a furry, and then that's when they strike, the Nazi menace. They just come upon you, and they just put a Nazi bandana, and all of a sudden they're like, "You didn't ask for this, you didn't choose this, but there it is."
Right.
And the reason why they do that is so that they have a lot of loyal idiots they can later on get rid of.
Oh.
Maybe it's like they turn them into a minority so they can feel excluded. Because I think furries are the most oppressed minority for very good reasons. I mean, I think we should oppress furries more.
All right. Well, let's.
Yeah, I agree.
Let's just keep going because we got to start this thing sometime. So, I think we're already depressed just talking about. Anyway, let's just keep going.
Yesterday's ally becomes today's opposition. And this Cold War? Think back. When I was leading the Cobras, America and Russia were fighting together. Now, consider whether America and Russia will still be enemies in the 21st century. Somehow I doubt it. Enemies change along with the times, the flow of the ages, and we soldiers are forced to play along. Is there such a thing as an absolute timeless enemy? There is no such thing, and never has been. And the reason is that our enemies are human beings like us. They can only be our enemies in relative terms.
So I hear Amanda mistook you for Che Guevara, Snake.
What?
That's not too bad.
Okay, so that was a 45-second platitude from the boss with no context. Okay. Now we're into what is this?
Doesn't sound like extremely.
This is now
leftist to me.
Peace Walker, and this is what's his name? Kaz.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the boss is the best thing about the series. She's she's
Yeah.
awesome. She's fantastic.
Yeah.
She's fucking amazing.
Huh?
Yeah, right. I'm not even worthy of polishing his boots.
Don't be so
Gear.
modest. From where I'm standing, your men see you as a great man.
As great as the century's most complete human being.
That's
Look,
Sartre, right? Well, there's hardly been a more iconic figure of his times than Che.
Oh, he was more than that. He was a true revolutionary and a great warrior.
I'm with you there. Can you believe that when he first went to Cuba with Fidel, they had only 12 guys with them?
But they rallied. They brought in new recruits, won the support of the peasants, expanded their organization.
And in the end, they overthrew the Batista regime. The whole ideological split between East and
Wait.
West. In the end, it's just a greedy scramble for wealth by the ruling classes. The Western bourgeois stand to lose everything if their countries go communist. After all, the communists want to abolish private property altogether. So the capitalist rulers desperately tried to halt the global spread of communism. Hence the phenomenon of red baiting.
This video is going to be quite a bit different from
What?
my traditional ones because
Oh,
I'm going
it's
to
this
talk about myself,
fucker.
my upbringing.
Oh Jesus Christ! If
Oh,
I
you
knew
remember
it was
that.
gonna be this guy, I wouldn't have gone.
Also, just shortly, this character we just heard, Kaz, is later on shown to be an extremely vengeful motherfucker who is not very a good guy, really. But
I
Yeah,
think
good
all
context.
those clips were out of context.
yes, very much so.
Maybe because the capitalist rulers, as he calls them, they don't want to lose their money. Also, they know that communism is poison, so that's also a good idea.
Also, then in context, the entire thing about Metal Gear Solid 4 is freedom. So, no, yeah. There's a lot of context that is just completely cut out.
Ah, pesky context. Who needs it?
Who needs context?
Playing these different types of video games that really helped form my political opinions rather than analysing a topic and then giving my opinion on that. Now, from the title and the thumbnail, you guys know I'm talking about Hideo Kojima, the all-tier director of games like the Metal Gear Solid franchise, Zone of the Enders, and Death Stranding, and, you know, of course, he was making a Silent Hill remake, reboot game with Norman Reedus that got cancelled by Konami. This guy is a titan of the video game industry, probably the most famous director, if not one of them, And if you play a game like Death Stranding, you only have to look at the wide range of celebrity talent involved in that game. He seems to be personally friends with Nicholas Refn, with Guillermo del Toro, obviously has Norman Reedus, Mads Mikkelsen, Léa Seydoux, among others actually featuring in that game. A lot of you guys really like my video about why Hideo Kojima is a socialist, so go check that out if you are interested.
Okay, does he say he is personally a socialist? Or are you projecting the fact he's a socialist onto him? Because there's two very different things.
He's reading it into his games, like reading into the narrative of his games.
Message coming in.
Yeah.
That
Patching it through.
he's a socialist. That's what that video is about.
Also, just very
Okay,
shortly, so of the end, these games are really fucking fun.
Imagine if someone just walked up to someone and said, "Hey, you're what was it? Fuck it, as a communist." It's like, oh, wait, no, I'm not a communist. I just made this book. It's like, but the book has communist themes. Like, where? What the fuck are these communist themes? You communist. Someone goes up to George Lucas, like, you're fucking alt-right.
I just got a super chat from Joe Crazy. Colonel, I'm dummy thick, and the clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the guards.
He's basically projecting himself in Kojima.
Oh, actually, Shiny, there's an example of that. Do you guys know of Hayao Miyazaki?
Right.
The Japanese filmmaker. He once, in an interview, because of his one film, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, he was asked, it has a strong, quote-unquote, strong female character in it as the main character, and he was asked if he was intending to make feminist messages or if he was making the film feminist intentionally. And his answer was, no, nothing of that. I just meant to entertain people.
Oh, well, who would have thought about that?
What he really meant was...
So what you're saying is we should align our society along the lines of the lobsters?
Yes.
Huh.
Who'd have thunk it?
All right.
Gear games in particular, and how they spread a message of socialism, and how at the very least his worldview is shaped by leftist politics. So that's going to sort of inform the discussion I'm going to have today. But yeah, a lot of you liked that in the past, but if you haven't watched that yet, maybe queue it up for after this video, because I do feel it's worth watching. Now, before we go any further, if you want to support my work, check out my Patreon and my social medias in
check out your two
get some of the bad
Jedi
stuff out of the way before I delve into the
posters.
good stuff and how he's influenced me in particular.
Again, who says subscribe at the very beginning of their video and then he's also going to sit at the end, because of course it is. We haven't seen your stuff yet. Well, I've seen the rest of your stuff and I'm really not impressed. But say if someone comes across your content for the first time, they're not going to subscribe before they watch anything of you. You know, if it's just a video they randomly stumbled across.
Also, why is it so often that pretty much every leftist who's super like, yeah, socialism good and everything, every one of them has Patreon somewhere.
Patreon.
Well, that's just the nature of YouTube, really. But it is just a funny contradiction. Fucking Xander.
Socialism is awesome. Also, subscribe to my Patreon and support me on YouTube.
Thanks for the $100 super chat.
It's basically, hey, I'm for socialism. Capitalism is bad, so please support my capitalist endeavor.
So the bad stuff is Hideo Kojima sometimes has weird depictions of women in his games. I'm not saying he can't write women characters, because he can. Some are very good, like the boss. The ones.
Have you seen an anime before? It's not really weird. It's just like run of the mill over there.
No, he has a problem with anime in general.
I'm pretty sure that if he went to Japan and he showed them especially today, he showed them like a Western female character, they would go, "What are you doing? This is weird." Americans are weird and have weird depictions of women in their media. I'm pretty sure they would think the same thing.
Why are you women so covered up? What's wrong with you?
Why are you gay?
Why are you
Like
gay?
Westerners. What Westerners? Why do you call all you women like men? What is with this?
Stranding aren't so bad, and they're not overly sexualized either. There are a couple characters in Metal Gear Solid that are problematic. While I like
There's that word.
Problematic.
Put that on your
Is the
bingo card.
problematic-
Yeah.
Where's the bingo
X
card?
that off your bingo card if you got the
Automatically
bingo card.
problematic. Automatic problematic. There we go
Ding.
again.
Like Quiet Story from MGS5.
They always go to quiet, don't they?
I don't
They always go to
understand
quiet. She's the
why
perfect
she has to have
character,
the
okay?
costume.
Doesn't
She does,
talk.
especially with what
There we
happens to her later on. I just don't understand that.
Okay, from what I understand about Quiet, she's carrying like a virus or something, and she doesn't die or anything. She kind of sacrifices
It's,
herself to. Well, maybe she dies, but I forgot. I think she sacrifices herself in order to save the
You're a
main
bit
character.
distracted.
Yeah, she doesn't die. She has just the like vocal parasites. The English strain of the vocal parasite in her throat. If she speaks English, it starts reproducing and spreading,
Yeah, exactly.
and so that's why she's quiet.
like, how come
And
that
then
can, what's wrong with that?
she then talks English to save the boss, the big boss.
I don't see anything wrong with the character. They always complain that she's dressed, she's barely dressed in skimpy attire, and she doesn't talk, and she always in the shower. She's always like a go-to for like male nerds to get cred. Like, oh no, it's time for me to complain about Quiet so I can get some brownie points or something. They always go to her and insult her as a character because it's wrong for some reason.
What's interesting?
He's the creator. He can do that if he
Also,
wants. She's a good
she's
character. She's a very interesting character.
She's an insanely good sniper, like inhumanly good. And the first time you really meet her, apart from the intro, is when she's shooting at you, and then you through gameplay have to best her, and that then immediately makes her respect Big Boss.
Yeah,
And so that's
exactly.
the start of the relationship between them, which turns out to be kind of really interesting.
I think they might hate her most of all because she has the audacity to not be better than Snake at sniping. Snake is better than her. He outshoots her canonically.
Well, I think they hate. Well, do you think they know enough to say that about her? To be honest, I think
I
it's
don't
more
think
just how she looks.
I think usually they
beautiful
just look
woman.
at her.
That's
They just look at her and say, "Oh, look, she's this is a bad depiction of women because she's not in a
hot.
burqa."
Just a crumb of coochie.
this is the
Just
the
a
problem.
crumb of coochie, please.
The Cavernacle is I don't know if he's actually played the game because he's saying why is she so dressed this way, and we all know, unless you guys
They
forgot,
explain it.
they explain it in lore. She needs to breathe through her skin. That's her
Yeah,
weird
because,
condition.
I would argue that
But I think
Kojima actually
he
didn't
would say,
actually need to do that. Like Kojima is perfectly fine
He
to
just-
have a character that
yeah.
dresses like this normally, but yeah, he gave him like a reasonable explanation as to why, and it totally fits with the lore of Metal Gear Solid.
Because most of her body was burned, and so through weird, amazing science, it was basically remade with some additional features.
Which, as far as Kojima goes, is pretty tame. It's pretty like, okay, yeah, I can, like, he has guys that are encased in a spacesuit or are continually on fire, and they fly around like a psychopath, and they say their name every time they do it. It's the same with the pain, the fury, the fear.
I mean, they have a consciousness in an arm that takes over the person who took the arm.
Really?
Well,
No,
kind
that's
of.
How I. That's
Yes
how
and no.
I'm not knowledgeable on Metal Gear lore.
It's so stupid. Like it's a retcon of a dumb idea, which is even just as dumb. But you're like, okay, so
You know, they make it so that it wasn't actually the arm; it was him training himself to be a different person. She's like, "How you do that?"
Metal Gear Solid 5 is a game where you have this guy who is like a medic who gets trained while he's in a coma to be another guy. And
Yes.
like, this is good. This is insane stuff. Like Kojima's games have all these insane things that can't actually happen, and they make him strong and fit by using like massage and electrical therapy. So he's like, when he wakes up, he's an awesome super soldier when he wakes up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Well, there's also the Man on Fire in that game.
Yeah, there's all kinds of wacky things in there. But no, the thing you
Yeah.
complain about is that there's a fit woman who's attractive and who doesn't
Well,
wear
it's
that.
problematic. It's problematic.
So
You're
There's
actually,
all kinds of things in that game that you can talk about and analyze. But no, you go back to the low hanging fruit of a character who's bad because she's attractive.
The two low-hanging fruit.
Very big low hanging fruit.
I think he will do this often, really often on this video.
And I've also noticed that whenever they complain about this stuff, it's rarely ever that they actually played the game or watched the movie. They see like a scantily clad female character and think, "Oh, misogyny."
Do you guys think he will talk about the Soviets on the Metal Gear 5 Metal Gear 5.
He's probably going to talk about what's the name, Volgren, that sadistic guy from the third one. He might talk about it.
Maybe, but
also, what were you trying to say, Agent Yokai?
Well, what I was going to say is, first, I'm not even going to address the quiet thing, because, I mean, come on, that's too easy. What I do want to talk about is the initial clip, the cassette tape conversation that was played at the beginning of the video between Kazuhira Miller and Snake.
We kind of passed that a little bit. You could have mentioned that earlier.
Well, I know, I just didn't want to interrupt anybody, because a lot of people were making some really good points. But
you could have paused the video when none of us were talking.
Wait, I could just wait. So, like, we could all click pause?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I've never used Watch Together before. That's fantastic.
The more there is a pause and play button right there.
Well, no, Shady. He didn't know.
Yeah, but
regard to the context of the show, he didn't know he could do that. That's fine. Anyway, don't worry. What's your point?
So, back to what I was saying. It seemed like it was a mission briefing or some form of conversation that had to do with information regarding the sociological climate in the mission area. Like, it looked more like Miller was just, like, saying, this is what's happening. This is what we're dealing with. Like, he was just explaining to Snake, this is the climate that we're in.
I can give you context to that. It's an additional cassette tape that you can find and listen to. It's not mandatory to listen to it. It's an additional thing.
Yeah, and that was exactly my next point, is that even if Miller was written in some way to be endorsing the communists within that area, which he clearly wasn't, but even if he was, it doesn't impact the plot in a consequential way. It would just be a small fragment of his personality. A lot of the characters within Kojima's games, particularly Metal Gear, hold a lot of very plot-centric, specific views to drive the story forward. This isn't that. That was the point that I wanted to make.
He's complaining over the visual design of Quiet because she's sexy, which is arguable. You know,
problematic.
Some people may not find this attractive, so it really depends on your taste.
To just add a little bit to Agent what he said, those cassette tapes, most people probably won't hear them ever.
It depends. A lot of people love those games because there's so much to find and secrets to locate. So Kojima loves doing that. So I always say at Kojima, he's a mad genius because he does put a lot of effort into everything he does. The problem is the effort is not misplaced, but just the result is nuts. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, we're now wearing a crocodile helmet. Because that's a thing. Like, there's all kinds of weird shit in these games. And as a game, it's fine. It's fun. And if that's the point, then great. But he puts all this other crap in there. It's just ridiculous stuff. Like, you look at your X-ray in Metal Gear Solid 3, and you have, like, 5 arrows sticking out of your chest. And you're full health. And you're like, what? How is this possible? So, anyway.
It just works.
Yeah. Jack Catlin. Hey guys, just wondering, does a character's trait of being the insightful strategist who helps formulate plans justify their entire role in a story? Okay, that's interesting. It depends on what else they do. If all they are is just, hey hero, go do X, and the hero is not an insightful strategist, then he plays the role of like the old man who gives the boon or the muse who gives the potion to the hero to do the thing they need to do. For example, there's all kinds of strategists in the Suikoden series that their entire role is to be the war strategist guy. And he says, okay, we're going to fight the Empire now, and you got to do this strategy, I think. And you don't have to follow that in gameplay if that's an option. But traditionally, we're talking about someone who gives the hero a item or strategy or thing that allows them to keep going. So they're not actually the hero, but they're supporting the hero. And that goes with any side character. So yes, it's great if they're plot relevant. It's great if they have the key the hero needs and they provide a challenge that they have to overcome. Anything that integrates a character into the story is what you want to see, or else they're just a shopkeeper. They're just a guy that, oh, the hero needs to eat. Well, I'm giving you food because that makes sense. Because, you know.
I feel like there's a problem of a character becoming just the character goes, okay, here's the plan, and then just nothing else.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's kind of,
if you look at
so that would be the problem with that type of character, where all they do is just they come in and go, okay, here's the plan.
Yes, it's kind of like giving plot tickets. They're not giving you the option.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, here's a ticket to get to the next plot point. Here's another ticket, and that's what you got in a lot of games and a lot of stories, like Mass Effect 2. The elusive man just sits there and says, "Oh, not time to do this, time to do that." And you're like, okay. There's no forward momentum by the main character.
But it's cool because it does it so elusively.
And he smokes, and he's like, "I'm so awesome. You should go do this for me." Yeah.
And I guess the problem is you kind of want to think, like, could I just have my existing characters work out this strategy amongst themselves? Do I need to add in this extra character to come up with this strategy?
Right. So when you have the elusive man, for example, he's the guy who has the resources to bring you back from the dead, to make a brand new spaceship, to have all this information network, to have all these personnel. Like, it's like, oh, he's doing all these roles, and he's also the plot provider for tickets. So he is integrated, but he becomes almost the main character because he's the guy pulling the strings and telling you what to do, and you just go along with it, as opposed to him saying, "I brought you back. It's up to you to do the rest," as opposed to, "Well, I'm the one with the plan. You're my little puppet," you know. So obviously they didn't word it that way, but it still comes across as, yeah, this is not my story. This is Tim's story, unfortunately. So yeah, integration with side characters is always difficult, and it's always good to have them challenge the protagonist as well as the antagonist. Okay, next one. To Tim 505, can we just say that Kojima is a bit pretentious? That is certainly
definitely
one way of putting it. Yeah, there's lots of ways to describe Kojima.
I think he's like that's kind of the baselines, right? Like, that's kind of the foundation of Kojima.
I think even for the Japanese audience, he's a bit pretentious.
Well,
also, I think he might have some anger towards the capitalist idea, because he kind of has been enslaved by Konami for a long time. Yeah. And he wanted to stop making these games, but they kept making him make these games because he kept making money.
I know.
So you could have that perspective from him as well.
He still made his own. Finally, he made his own studio, which took him long enough. And we saw that coming, but that would be rather capitalistic of anyone to start your own entrepreneurship. So I don't see him as anything political. I never did. He may have those ideas in his stories, but his stories are not inherently political based.
He never did politics exactly. He did like social commentary. The ideas that spawned the politics.
This is
the ideas that spawned the need for war, the need for soldiers, things like that.
Right. This is the same argument I make whenever I say that The West Wing is not a political show.
Oh, definitely not. Neither, by the way, is House of Cards. It's just a show that has politics in it.
It's a major element, but it's not.
Oh yeah, definitely major element.
It's not a theme.
You can say that to Starship Troopers too.
Starship Troopers
definitely. I think so.
In its being a satire of an actual work which was serious, and that was one way of popularizing it. Because if you read the book, it's like, oh, this is what Heinlein actually thinks.
I would go so far as to say that Kojima spent his time trying to break down the politics, like trying to get past the political views and political spectrum, and go down because in fact he's telling us that's what he's doing. Because if you look at Big Boss and his whole thing with Diamond Dogs, and even I think from 3 and Peace Walker, he's actually cutting away from the politics and the eternal struggles or the global struggles, and he's making his own like little outer heaven. And which is opposite, which is away from the politics and more of just soldiers fighting wars for whatever reason.
Oh God! When he shows the depiction of the was it the United States president or whatever the hell that was, when at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3, you're like, this is a joke, right? This is like caricatures of a caricature. This is so silly.
No, I can't wait to start portraying Trump and everything in anime. I think it's going to be pretty awesome. They already did that with Death Note. Like, I can't wait for them to start doing that everything else.
It's almost ridiculous as a farce because he doesn't know either. He doesn't care to flesh it out in any realistic sense, or he just wants to focus on, well, the boss is amazing, therefore everyone around him who's trying to be a man is like nowhere close to his masculinity. So the big boss is like, yeah, whatever, I'm gonna go cry at a cemetery now, you know. So anyway,
also isn't the isn't the soldiers fighting for a big boss mercenaries? Because because my knowledge on Metal Gear is pretty low. But from what I can remember, isn't they aren't mercenaries because they can small countries can buy them to fight big countries. That's what I can.
This all starts with Portable Ops, where he makes his own jail cell, which is like a revolving door for Stockholm Syndrome. So he literally just steals people off the level he's in, drags them. He has to drag them all the way back to his truck, throw them in the truck, finish the level, and throw this guy in a jail. And then through Stockholm Syndrome, they eventually join you as a cook or a medic or whatever, or as a soldier, and you start building up your team. So
Seem like that in 5, because all you gotta do is knock them out and attach a balloon to them, and it's they do all the work for you.
Message coming in.
Big Boss has two mercenary organizations. He first creates the Militaire Sans Frontières, the military without frontier, and that then gets destroyed by the incident that is in. What was the one that is in this same story as Metal Gear Solid 5, but came out before? That was kind of part 1 of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, well,
Peace Walker.
Peace Walker came after Portable Ops, so
no, the one there was PlayStation, basically like a playable demo of 5, but that was story relevant. I forgot what its name was.
Ground Zero, I think.
Yeah, exactly. In that game, that organization gets destroyed, and then the Metal Gear Solid 5 proper is about him rebuilding but making them the Diamond Dogs.
Right. There's so many.
Yeah, those are mercenaries.
Yeah, no, there's so many twists and turns in his stories that just for the sake of it, you're just sitting there going like, okay, we're doing this now. We're back from the dead, I guess. Anyway, Jake the Surgeon, this tism made my tism go ultratism, this waffle brain. Okay, we don't know what he's getting at yet. We do know what kind of character he is, so we'll just sort of suspend our knowledge and go, okay. Maybe he's getting to a point. We don't know yet. Jake the Surgeon, boob lady bad. Is that on the scorecard or the bingo card? Boob lady or sexualized?
Yeah, it should be.
The soy boys and the male geeks that want to get easy brownie points are always going after scantily clad female characters. It's disrespectful to women. It's disrespectful to women. And they say that every time. So that might as well be on there.
Yeah, I'm looking at straight white cis Christian man bad, maybe. Everything else is pretty. Oh, toxic masculinity. There we go. Because breasts are a form of toxic masculinity. I don't know.
They're part of the male.
Fall under feminist.
There we go. Male gaze. Thank you, Shiny. That's perfect. Okay. Jake the Surgeon. Embrace Chungus Waman. Oh God. Skids. What did you say? SJWs would complain if she was wearing boob armor. Oh yeah, they'd complain for whatever. If she showed a midriff.
They complain if she's sitting too masculine. They complain if she's sitting too feminine. They complain if she's too covered. She's complaining if she's not covered enough. They complain if she's strong. They complain if she's feminine. They complain if she's masculine. They complain if she's weak. The only way you could possibly get them to, be happy if she's a strong plank of wood that never expresses any emotion, never.
I think they hate women. I think SJWs just hate women. That's my guess.
Oh, jeez.
I think they just hate anything which makes a woman.
I think they just don't like attractive people, period. I don't think it's a female thing. I just think that because they're not up to a level that people admire for whatever reason, and their acceptance of others is so broad that it doesn't matter if you're attractive or black or white or whatever, you have to all be the same. Therefore, if I'm not even remotely on the spectrum, everything is ruined. So they have to hate anything which is even closely related to themselves or not related to themselves, rather. And they have to dislike it for that purpose, which is strange, because I don't see anything wrong with liking any There's plenty of women who are attractive who do not look like Quiet. So I don't get the point. But anyway. 2Tim505. I got a few more super chats and some donations to go through. Them go right back to the video. I know it's taking a bit of time, but you guys are excited today for some reason. I guess it's a Kojima video, and yay. 2Tim505. Also, he made David Hayter recast Snake almost every game because he didn't like him. That's what I heard. I don't know about that. I think they parted on good terms when Metal Gear Solid 5 and Ground Zeroes came out. But they did take him to dinner and say, we're not going to have you in the next game. I just wanted to say thank you, whatever. So there was that event, but that's Kojima. He's always planning something. Like, no, he didn't reveal who the new Snake was and why until we found out in the game. So I think David Hayter is great, but it makes perfect sense why he did it that way. It's just crazy when you think about it. So, okay, Taker 610 again. Open Smudcast. Oh, hello. Be right back. Okay. Sure. Busy. Here is
pretty much.
Here is Tyler Preston for a donation of $1. Thank you, sir. So, a series that has giant mechs, cloning, nanomachines, psychics, a flying whale on fire. Oh, God. When was that? A cyborg ninja that shoots lightning and is all believable, but a woman wearing a revealing outfit breaks her suspension of disbelief. Not belief, suspension of disbelief.
It's not breaking suspension of disbelief. It's problematic.
Yeah. Does not compute. A lot of people argued before the game came out when they saw Quiet, and we knew exactly who was arguing and why. So I'm just surprised he gave a reason for her level or character design. I found that fascinating that he would go to. Obviously, he's very detailed centric, but I wasn't expecting like the end argument where the end was an old man who just lived for a long time and he had photosynthesis work through his body somehow. So, anyway, Fran Mataraki, thank you, sir, for the 5. I wonder what these would think of Kane from Nier. Am I pronouncing that right? Kane? Who makes Quiet look like a nun, but also canonically has a massive Seabiscuit schlong. In addition to a clam. Oh, that's interesting. It's also canon that she rapes a dead body with it. Oh, that's nice to know.
Jesus.
I don't think... Well, Nier Automata is out of my list now.
I still haven't played it. I still want to. That one's
Nier Automata is good. I haven't played the original one though. The original Nier.
Yeah.
Well, there are several Niers before Nier Automata.
I don't think
technically speaking, Drakengard is also a game of the series.
I think it's very difficult to judge someone's politics based on their media that they're making. I think it's often very obvious to tell someone's fetishes, though.
With Kojima, there's too many to count. I don't think you can actually accurately...
So what does that say about the creators of Totally Spies?
They are French.
I don't know what that is.
Wait, Shiny, do you have a clone fetish?
What?
No, of course not.
He has a Clone Wars fetish. You're getting those mixed up.
Oh.
Anyway.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure he's into some weird shit.
Well, who knows?
Clone on clone action.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my.
It's not gay if it's your own clone.
There you go, Shiny.
But it's murder if you kill it, though. According to Odo.
It's suicide. It's not murder.
It's suicide.
Anyway.
It's assisted suicide.
Oh, my God.
You assist yourself in the suicide.
Yes.
Jeez. Let's keep going, please.
Element of her character, because I think her character overall is quite interesting, and how she's this assassin who eventually grows to love Venom Snake. But I think that whole costume just really undermines it. And then you have Eva from Metal Gear Solid 3. I don't think she's a bad character. I actually really like Eva.
So you don't respect women when they're skimpily dressed? You can only respect them in their character arc.
That's
if they're
right there. Oh,
also,
that's quite problematic.
Part of Eva's character is that she's a seductress.
Yeah. She is literally the seducer of the story. That's
yeah.
Her role. Can you imagine a seductress not being attractive?
I think he would even say
totally black, diverse woman
is problematic. Like even the character archetype itself.
Yeah, he probably would say that.
And she's not like completely hugely endowed. She's just a healthy looking woman. She's not.
But also, he said that he likes her character.
Same with Quiet. You know, what is this guy's? He doesn't like the way they look. Like, what is your problem?
Their attractiveness undermines their character somehow.
Look at Snake in this scene. There's also in Peace Walker, you could change because there's co-op play, so you could have like 4 snakes on the screen at once, and one of them is a like that outfit where he has no shirt on because it's the lightest outfit, so he can carry heavy equipment. So it's like, are you gonna make the same argument for Snake because he's shirtless or topless?
I mean, is Snake attractive?
Oh God, yes, yeah. He's a beefcake. Look at that man.
I mean, on the mirror world, I think this argument could be made on the in other dimension.
Oh yeah, in the Star Trek mirror universe where everyone's evil. we're all like out to get each other. Yeah, she's totally fine. Yeah, she's good. She's not evil enough. That's the thing. Yeah, she's not seductive. She's not a seducer enough. There we go.
But there's sort of this smut to the game, and you can like press R1 to look in first person. You can look down at her breasts, which are often exposed. So there's some problems there.
No, they're not.
That's a problem.
What's wrong with that?
It's a Japanese game. I mean,
if anything, it's problematic that you couldn't see the nipples.
So when you say breasts are exposed,
no, but it's something which you have to willingly do. Like it's not something you can accidentally do.
I like the way there's an achievement in Nier Automata for looking up her skirt
10 times.
It's pretty funny.
So the term.
Like, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Or is on the other game.
Fun fact: you have to actually do it in a very specific way that it triggers an animation. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
Yeah. So, I know. I have the achievement.
So when you say breasts are exposed, that means they're bare, they're naked, they're nude.
Yes.
Not once is she naked in that game that we get to see it.
Got a problem with breasts, Paul?
Plural, yes. So I'm sorry, but his terminology is a bit lacking.
It's problematic because you can look at her titties.
Oh my God, Shiny, are you sure? I gotta make sure of that.
It's problematic that it's optional.
You can stare down. I don't know. I'm just going off what he's saying, but it's like it's problematic because you can look at her titties.
I agree with Dollface. It should be mandatory.
Yeah, it should be mandatory. It shouldn't be optional.
They should force your face into them.
Press
one of those movement tutorials. Remember, like in Halo, like they teach you. Okay, look over here and look over there. It'd be one of those tutorials. Okay, look up here, look down here.
Look at Cortana's titties.
Yeah.
What's really funny, you can actually, I don't know if you guys remember in Metal Gear Solid 3, you can spin both Snake and her character model around in the menu, and there's breast jiggle physics, which is hilarious, but if you keep doing it too much, she gets sick and throws up, and her stamina goes down. Like, that's how anal retentive Kojima is. Like,
Kojima thinks of everything. Remember like in the second game where there's like a glass on the table, you can shoot the glass and the ice will land on the table and the ice will melt over time. Like he thinks of everything. I even heard of there's in Metal Gear Solid 3.
He really likes detail.
In Metal Gear Solid 3, you can kill a guy and then wait for the birds to eat him, and then kill the bird, cook the bird, and eat the bird. And then later on during the segment where you have to go where you're facing off against the Sorrow, the soldier that you ate will say, "Why did you eat me?" It's so he thinks of everything.
I mean, also the end, the boss fight, you can just shut the console off, wait a week, come back, and find him dead. He died of age.
Yeah. Turn the time. Was it like a year ahead or something like that? I can't remember.
No, a week. A week ahead.
Oh, he's waiting for you. He waits too long. He dies. That's great.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And I don't think it's unique to Kojima because a lot of Japanese games have this stuff. Of course, a lot of Western games have this stuff as well. But you guys probably understand when I talk about over-the-top sort of anime-style depictions of women. So that stuff is problematic. Also,
oh my God,
that stuff is
problematic. Like he's proved it. Like he's proved it conclusively. Okay, yeah. So you all get that. You all understand that.
It's very clear to anyone who has any experience watching anything from Japan that Japan really emphasizes aesthetics. So if you're going to watch something from Japan or experience something from Japan, some media from Japan, you're going to have to deal with beautiful women being in there. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm very sorry that you have to deal with looking at beautiful women, but you're just going to have to.
It's not just the women. There's so many more male characters that are buff and shirtless and strong and wielding.
Or pretty boys.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds. Like, why isn't he complaining about that? Because he doesn't find it
manly
offensive.
men. There's Baishonen. There's everything in there.
I just love how he says it so casually, as if it's an accepted fact of the world.
Yeah, exactly.
None of this requires any
He
kind of
doesn't define
clinical
what it means to be
investigation.
problematic.
This
He merely
exists.
insists that it's problematic.
This exists. It's problematic.
It is known.
This exists. Problematic. It is known. Exactly.
I feel like that should be. You know, why there's Rule 34. I feel like there should be another rule at some point where it's like Rule 119. If it can be problematic, it is problematic.
Yeah.
Probably.
Here is
I think this rule is unwritten.
Here is Taker 610. This guy would love the Vieira race in Final Fantasy 12. Oh god, they're basically bunny girls. Yeah. So.
Oh, I must play that game.
They're in Final Fantasy Tactics Advance, which is what.
Oh, those, yeah.
Yeah. So, the Fran character from Final Fantasy 12.
Yeah, I just remembered.
Yeah.
So Hideo Kojima is an inconsistent writer. I don't think he's a bad writer, which some people say.
Whoa,
that's true.
He's inconsistent, but not bad. I just don't know what to say. That is amazing.
He could do whatever, but he can't just juggle it all together. It's really weird. Like he can say one thing and then say something else completely different in the other game, but he manages to tie it all together.
So does he mean he's inconsistent with his quality? Because inconsistent created to me sounds more like someone who's not very consistent with what they've written before.
No, look, he's inconsistent in the way that sometimes he's sometimes he's just good.
Yeah, that'd be inconsistent with the quality. Why didn't he just fucking say that?
I don't know.
I'm sorry, that would actually make sense.
When you say someone is inconsistent, you have to point to what in writing they're inconsistent with. Because Kojima, you can't just say he writes everything, he designed everything, or he did everything, he did all the work. I'm sure he has other people working with him, but just say what in the game, which game was inconsistent with another game, or the dialogue, or whatever. Just tell me, and then we can look at it together and say, you're right, I agree with you, or no, you're wrong, you're making shit up.
Yeah.
Anyway, not Alfarius. Over-the-top anime-style women. Yo, I don't think he realizes that there are 3D women with big boobs. None of the women in the Metal Gear Solid series, to my knowledge, are curvy. They are attractive. They're thin and athletic. Maybe Sniper Wolf, maybe. But we're talking like Metal Gear Solid 1, where everyone is like a 800 polygon body. There's not much to work with. We're talking before Lara Croft, it's just like it's such a low level polygon character count. Not even Meryl was curvy, so I don't even know what the problem would be.
Patching it through.
That he looked at her butt.
Yeah, well,
which he did. The camera focuses on specifically her butt to show that she wiggles her butt.
Yes, when she runs.
It's plot relevant though.
I recognize the wiggle of your ass. I know who you are.
Basically, yes.
Why?
Metal Gear.
210-505. They have a temple in Japan to wish for bigger nods. They got all kinds of crap in Japan.
They have a whole penis festival.
Yeah, they do. They have a park dedicated to penises.
They have penis lollipops. They have penis hats.
Yeah.
Which, the lollipops which they suck. What?
I think Blackpool has a lot of that as well, to be fair.
Rin Wesley. Thank you, sir. Why do so many women cosplay as these problematic sexy video game characters if they're so misogynistic? If they're so misogynists? Yeah, good question. These women don't seem to mind. And they like dressing up, maybe. Because it's all positive to them. They like doing the thing that they're interested in. Wow.
They like what they like.
Stupid women. Stupid women, can't you see I'm trying to save you from being oppressed, you dumb bitch?
No, they want a big fat lady in a covert operation in the middle of the night. This big fat.
No,
lady
it's
in
a big
combat
fat
roles.
black woman. That's what it is.
Exactly.
Oh boy.
I think he's a writer in general, but there is a lot of Kojima-ness to some of his writing. You have really excellent dialogue. I don't know if he's the primary writer, but I feel he writes a lot of it. So people like The Boss, people like Big Boss, then some others like Kazuhiro Miller.
Okay, so we heard the first 45 seconds of his video was a platitude from The Boss, which was out of context. I couldn't recall exactly what they were talking about before. I think it was like 10 minutes till the place gets bombed and he just starts talking. You're like, oh, shit. So this is what Kojima does. He has a soapbox and he stands on it for as long as he can. And you sit there going, am I playing a game or are we just listening to Kojima ramble on? So I don't like that in general. I don't think that's a good thing in stories, unless the point of your story is to like ramble on about capitalism. If you're reading like Ayn Rand, then that's kind of what she does. That's all she does in all her books, is her objectivity argument, whether it's capitalism good or socialism and communism bad. She always talks about those things. With Kojima, it's so wacky and weird and different that you'll have one guy talking about the war, the Cold War, and what it's done to the rest of the world, and then you'll have an AI-controlled lunatic ramble on about bullshit and nanomachines and the day of the week.
Nanomachines, son.
It's crazy.
And then you have a fist fight between
son.
And then you have a fist fight between two geriatrics
who are breaking each other's bones and just like, what?
Yeah.
What the hell? And you hear their head bounce against the steel of the submarine or whatever. Just like, oh my god, what's going on? That's a concussion. There's another concussion. Like, oh shit. Anyway.
And Solid said they all have good dialogue, but then you have stuff like in Death Stranding, the Princess Beach thing, or near the end of Death Stranding, that sort of dialogue with Amelie goes on forever, and a lot of stuff in Metal Gear Solid 4 as well. So he's not perfect, but I appreciate his style, and there is something about his bad writing which does have some charm to it as well. So that's all out the way, so let's shift to how Metal Gear Solid influenced my politics in general. So I've been aware of Metal Gear Solid for a long time. I think the first exposure I had to it was probably seeing my auntie's husband play it on the PS1 and talk about the Psycho Mantis boss fight and the cigars showing like the lasers and everything. And then I didn't get my hands on playing it until me and my friend bought Metal Gear Solid 2. Now the disc was scratched, so we'd only get to the bit where Fortune comes in and those Navy SEALs like shoot a grenade at her, and it kept cutting out then. But then I did get a disc that was better. Then me and one of my best friends actually completed it in like a weekend. It was mind-bending, it was crazy, and I was only 13 or 14 at the time, so I didn't really understand it. I must have been closer to 13 because a lot of it went completely over my head, but I still really liked it. And I played Metal Gear in a really, really weird order. I played 2 Peace Walker, 4, 3, 5, so a lot of this stuff didn't make sense to me anyway. But let's go into Peace Walker, because I think this is the real big one for me. So Peace Walker came out in spring 2010. I'm about 14, about to go...
Is it because it's the only one that specifically has something of that in it? Because as far as I remember, it's the only one that really kind of deals with Big Boss relating to politics.
I think it is. Probably it is.
I only don't get why he was so confused, because to my knowledge, Peace Walker was a prequel.
Peace Walker is a lot more, well, I wouldn't say coherent, but a lot more simple to follow, even with all the crazy recordings and secrets to find. But he said he really liked Metal Gear Solid 2. Metal Gear Solid 2 is one of the worst games for a narrative I've ever tried to follow. It is insane. It is absolutely crazy, and you're expected to make sense of this on top of all the crap they shovel through you. It's like, oh, it was all a simulation. Oh, we're not real. Oh, we're here to make you into the next Solid Snake. But oh, and then Solid Snake's clone brother pops up, and then his other clone brother. It's like, wait, what? And then
Yeah, his clone brother who's in the arm of the guy.
And then there's like 17 Metal Gear Rays. Like, what? You're just like, okay. And then you got to save the president. But he's not the real president.
J.J. Abrams.
No way. Metal Abrams.
Oh, you can't. I think it's Peace Walker where you can find Hideo Kojima in a truck.
Honestly, I stopped playing Peace Walker after the first flying boss where you have like you have to only damage them with Stinger missiles, and
yeah,
I liked the concept, I liked the design, but I was just so bored. It was like taking like 30 minutes. I was like, I can't play this anymore. It was so long.
I remember I was playing the second game. I still couldn't get off the boat. I got stuck. I don't remember how I got stuck, but it was like a long time ago. I could probably figure it out if I tried again, but I just haven't.
There was some weird shit about jumping into the machine and pulling out circuit boards, and you only had a limited time to do that before it repaired itself and started attacking. It was like, what am I doing? What is going on? So I sort of got tired. I actually enjoyed Portable Ops more, just because it was smaller and simpler to get into and had a more coherent narrative. Like the whole point was to stop Snake.
Portable Ops was very pick up and play.
Yeah, it was great. That was the point. You have a mobile device, you pop it in, you play it for an hour, you save your game, and that was great. But it was the same mechanics in well, they carried it over to Peace Walker, but obviously the story was much bigger. And they had all new elements like the shields and portable, was it 4 snakes at once and co-op play or ad hoc play. So bigger game, better game, obviously. I'm not going to say it's not. But some of those, like, there's something about some games you just cause you to stop playing, and that was mine. So.
Which one are you I want to ask you this. I was going to ask you later, but I don't want to forget. Which one are you referring to with the 4-player co-op in it?
That was probably Peace Walker.
That was Peace Walker. That's what I thought. Okay.
Probably. I never did it because, just to find people to play.
It was, well, I think I read something about like Peace Walker had it, but like only in the HD version or some shit. I don't know, but it's in there.
Well, I do remember the advertising for the Portable Ops, because it was like they were using the co-op play a lot, so that was the first time. But Peace Walker actually played with that, so you have like a level where one guy has to hold the door up so the other snake could crawl under the door. Like stuff
that's cool.
Yeah, stuff like that. So that was like cool design. I never got to do that because, I couldn't find another player, but
Yeah, that's what sucks is some of the most fun things you can do are playing co-op games, but very rarely do I have a partner.
Yeah. So lots of great ideas. Like that's why I have to say, Peace. Like there's a big post. Kojima did a whole article on that to do that game, like he put the most effort into that game than all the other games he made previously because of the space constraints of the disc for the PSP and all the things he wanted. Because Kojima's nuts; he always wants to put more crap into his games, and that to him, like all the mechanics, all the hitboxes and the network code and the micromanagement of your base, like all of that was all in Peace Walker.
Yeah, just look at 5 with that.
Every single image has so many things going on.
Oh god, 5 is nuts, but 5 was also
5 was really crazy because it's like a sim.
it was a rushed. It was also a rushed experience that they didn't get to finish properly.
Yeah. Like a third of the plot is in optional cassette tapes because they couldn't finish it. Because whatever happened with Konami, I guess Kojima slept with somebody's wife or something because they were very weird about that.
At that point, Kojima was in charge of, not in charge of Konami, but in charge of production of Konami with making Metal Gear Solid 5. And he was pretty much blowing the bank. And all his promises of like, we'll be done tomorrow or next week, kept getting pushed back and back and back. Mm-hmm. So when we look at the fall of Konami, like it's not gone. But we see that a lot of it was because of Metal Gear and the giving him the reins and not giving him enough limitations, and that's what ended up happening. So he just kept getting pushed back, and he had too much power. And imagine if he didn't. Imagine if we still had Suikoden and all these other great series under the Konami belt, still making games.
I think that Kojima
Rather than slot
has,
machines.
He has a little bit of a. He might have like kind of a negative relationship with his own creativity, because when he was limited, yeah, he was able to be a lot more efficient, like you're saying. But I also have heard a lot that he was very unhappy.
Oh yeah, he would
that
always say
he wasn't satisfied.
Yeah, at the end of especially at the end of 2, he said, "This is my last Metal Gear," and they called him to do another one, and then he would say, "This is still my last Metal Gear." It happens so much. It's like, dude, is this like a joke to you?
Maybe he's one of those developers that performs better under duress.
Okay, there are creative people who should not be in charge of a production, right? Kojima's the kind of like, he's kind of like the Shigeru Miyamoto, who's like, his ideas are amazing, but the practical engineer or coder or artist has to come in and say, whoa, we can't do that, or maybe if it should work out better this way. Because when he's in control of the script and design and gameplay and, hiring voice actors, it's like, okay, you have too much control. And I'm sure he's not doing every role by himself, but he has a lot of oversight. So if he just had, same with George Lucas. George Lucas had great ideas, fantastic ideas. And he had all this money and people and technology and great stuff. But as soon as you give him full control or master say over everything, then you get to, okay, this script is garbage. Maybe you should hire an editor who can tell you what.
First draft, and then you get pod racing, and then fucking Jar Jar. And then the Phantom Menace kind of goes nowhere.
And that's what I mean. The spirit of Kojima is great. His passion, his genius to work hard. It's his actual ideas that they don't. I'm convinced he did not code anything to make Metal Gear Solid 3 what it was, because Metal Gear Solid 3 was the pinnacle. That was the best out of all the games I played from him, for many reasons. And yeah, Peace Walker was well designed, and Metal Gear Solid 5 was crazy cool. I'm not saying they're bad games, but 3 was the most consistent, the most tight, and there's all these levels that you can approach from a different angle, which I think is kind of special. Not Deus Ex special, but just special in that regard for having non-linear gameplay. Anyway.
About to go into year 10, which in my opinion feels like my transition into adulthood in a lot of ways, because year 10, 14, 15 years old, 16 years old is where I grew to like a lot of the stuff. I feel like it has formed my...
Okay, if you want a simple way to work out what fucking year it means, because in year he's talking about education, he's talking about in Britain here we measure studies by year 1 is essentially reception, although we call it reception the first year that you're in school, and then every year after that it's year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. You start reception at 4 years old, so just add 4 on top of whatever number it is and you get 14, for instance. So year 10, year 14. You don't need to say 16, 18, 15, 19. Not really knowing.
I think it's
pretty
different
simple maths. Just add 4. Obviously, the year system makes much more sense than whatever the fuck you Americans do.
It's different in Northern Ireland as well. It's.
I know it's different in Northern Ireland. I also know it's a bit different in Scotland.
It's different in most countries. Like. Usually
I was talking about the UK specifically.
Yeah, that's what applies to here. Yeah,
I think Wales has the year system, I believe.
I mean,
but we have Scotland just does a lot of its own thing. We just let them do. Oh well, you have your own education system, sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Scotland does, just honestly.
Oh, you sure have your own parliament.
There's slightly different systems depending on the canton, but there's a general system that is advised by the central government.
Also, it depends when your birthday is, I suppose.
But generally, it's only if you're you're only going to reception if you're all 4 years of age. Like your birthday wouldn't really change that. So
if your birthday's in the middle of the school year, then
you still have to be 4 years old when you start.
During that year, you're going to be 2 different ages. Do you know what I mean?
Well, anyway, point is, he's bad at maths. There you go.
You're definitely not going to be 3 ages, though. which is what he said.
He went as high as 18.
He went 14, 15, 16, which is silly.
Views, so politics and history. So Peace Walker did something really interesting. Not only is it a really interesting setting, it's 1974 in Central America, but it also has these recordings. Now, in my video about Hideo Kojima's politics, I talk about these recordings a lot, but they are just so good. I can't overstate how good these are. Basically, what they boil down to is Big Boss, aka Snake, talks to members of his private army, Militaires Sans Frontières, about various different topics from the time, and also various theoretical and philosophical topics. Now, I remember when I was this age, just listening to these on my own, not playing the game, just binging them, and I just thought they were so good. So Cars is probably the best one, because like I said in my video essay, he is the gamer's insight into Japan post-war, and I feel like a lot of Kojima's own politics come through Kazuhiro Miller. So he talks about World War II, he talks about the firebombing of Tokyo, and Kaz's mother actually is a survivor of these bombings.
March 10th, 1945. 381,300 cluster bombs were dropped on Tokyo. Japanese houses at the time were almost all made of wood. In that single day, a third of Tokyo burned to the ground. My mom lost her family and home in that raid.
And then Kaz talks about
Dresden can relate, not other than not made of wood.
Didn't like it. He
I'd
talks
fucking
about his
do
own
it again.
Identity issues, being an American child who's also
Dresden just looks
Japanese.
over at the
He talks about
firebombers
a lot
like,
of
first
different
time?
stuff. They talk about communism and capitalism. And also a big thing in this game is that a lot of people mistake
this is how he became a
Big Boss
communist.
for Che Guevara, despite Che Guevara dying in 1967, this game taking place 7 years later. But what happens is, with conversations with Miller and one of the Sandinistas, and that's another big point, a Sandinista is one of your comrades, they talk about Che Guevara and his life.
The year the Cuban Revolution was won, Che visited Japan as a member of an economic...
Yeah, they are your companions by happenstance. The interests happened. The interest between Big Boss and the group he said they happened to.
Sorry, what was that?
Crazy, you cut it off.
That could be my internet. I was saying that Big Boss and the other guys' interest happened to line up, so they worked together.
They were a client, I think, or trying to be a client. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so it wasn't like he was fully supporting that. And also, Kaz is just one character. Yes, Kaz had Japanese mother who went through that, but that doesn't mean that it's Hideo Kojima speaking, as in, hey, look, this is how I feel.
Right.
Does do all characters personally speak for you when you make a story? I mean,
Yeah.
you can have characters. What was it? I don't know.
Well, in fact, Neil Gaiman kind of talked on that one time, where sometimes he gets quoted from one of his books by his characters, and he go, "This person said this." They would have the quote there, and they'll say, "By this quote by Neil Gaiman," and it's like, "No, that's not me. That's one of my characters talking." Okay, my character has a different perspective on life than I do. That's what makes them that character.
If you have a literal neo-Nazi in your story, does that mean?
Yeah, that's how they are.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what they do. Like, you can't even okay, in Cold War on multiplayer, it's possible that you'll play as a Russian communist. Okay, does that mean the game is saying I should be a communist?
You didn't ask for that.
Evidently, that's how
Well,
they
there
think. And all of a sudden, you're a Nazi.
All of a sudden,
Okay,
you're a
yeah, I'm
communist.
playing as one. That's not an endorsement of it or ideology. Like, what are you doing?
I think if you're going to be changed, your mind changed from a video game character, you might want to rethink how you come to conclusions so easily. Because as much platitudes as I've heard from Kojima, none of them really moved me to rethink political ideology or philosophy. It's very surface level stuff. So when people talk about how great Che was and this and that, they never read about Che. He was a butcher. He was a murderer. He slaughtered innocents. You know, I could.
But peace-loving people put him on their shirts, and they're like, "Oh, look."
To me, it's the equivalent of having a small-scale Hitler. Really, like he butchered people. And he wanted
that fucking baby was a counter-revolutionary. I had to drop kick it.
He wanted the war between the Soviets and America to heat up. He wanted atomic bombs to drop on Cuba because he wanted to deal with that and take control. And he has quotes to that effect. It's in his manifesto. He wrote about this shit, but no one bothered to read him because, oh no, I just picked the T-shirt, man.
Yeah, it's a cool T-shirt. Totally means peace.
It's bizarre.
He did go to South America and in Africa to keep fighting.
I know. He was crazy about killing people. It was just like, this guy just wants to fight. So if that's your hero, I mean, I guess you like revolutionaries for the sake of them. But actually read the guy, what he said and what he did. This is like, people say Trump is a Hitler or whatever. It's like, okay. He hasn't done anything. He's said some crazy shit, but that's like every day. He could be talking about the weather for all I care. He could say crazy shit. We had a crazy mayor. His name was Rob Ford back in the day. He was nuts. He was doing...
Also, let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Hitler's mustache was way better than Guevara's. Let's be honest. Let's be real.
I'll give that mustache a good 10 out of 5.
Hitler...
The Che Guevara's mustache, bad.
Hitler may have he may have popularized the Volkswagen car, but Che Guevara popularized the coffee drink mate, or mate, whatever you call it. That circular-looking, gourd-looking cup. I don't know if you guys have seen a picture of Che Guevara drinking mate. So, they have their own endorsements and politicalizations and visualizations, but they were butchers. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that.
No, he was a totally good person, guys.
Oh, yeah. Independence, I'm sure. 210-505 just got complete G.I. Joe series. It's 40 hours. Hey,
Message
cool.
coming in.
Is that the original?
Patching it through.
The original G.I. Joe. Wow, nice. I didn't see the new ones. I don't know how long that one is, but G.I. Joe is pretty long. And there was a movie.
Does Smud sound weird to anyone else, or is it just me?
He sounds muffled to me.
Am I muffled?
Yeah, kind of muffled.
Yeah, he sounds muffled.
How's now? Is it better now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Gotta stop slouching in my chair.
Economic delegate. While he was there, he visited Hiroshima and the atomic bomb survivors' hospital. Apparently, it gave him quite a shock. As a doctor, it must have been painful for him to see how the victims suffered. He was quoted as saying, "They put you through this, and still you do whatever America says." Those words really hit me hard, especially when I think of my mom.
Shocked the first time I saw you. You look so much like him.
I look like El Che, huh?
Sort of. Not in the face. It's more the way you carry yourself.
Che's a hero to the Sandinistas, too.
Of course. The FSLN was formed in the spirit of the ideologies championed by El Che and Fidel. El Che was a true revolutionary. He fought and died for the people. He worked harder than anybody, and he was a righteous man. Even as a minister of Cuba, he gave up his weekends to work on the farms and
freedom,
works.
and democracy to his new
That is
empire.
very interesting to me because although Che Guevara is quite, revered in certain aspects in certain Western circles, I didn't know much about his life. So Hideo Kojima teaches me all about his life through these really interesting conversations with these characters. And I want to touch on how great it is to have the Sandinistas represented in this.
Okay, not good idea to learn history from a video game.
Made by Hideo Kojima.
This is almost legitimately. Hawk thought the other guy was it this guy who was saying he was learning it from? It might actually be him. I've got to apologize to Hawk because he was completely right, saying he learned history from Metal Gear. Oh
yeah.
I like in what he's saying itself. I was like, okay, no, I've got to be fair to what he's saying. He's not saying he learned history from Metal Gear, but he's literally saying he's saying it here. Yeah, I will walk back on my words now because he is now saying he learned the history of Che Fuckwit from Metal Gear. There you go.
Also, the fact that his political ideology was formed at 14, I did not agree with what I believed when I was 14.
When I was 14, I was full on SJW, drinking the Kool-Aid. I was watching the Young Turks.
Yeah.
Do you guys want?
I was pretty much ANCAP at that point.
Oh god, do you guys want to actually read some of Che Guevara's quotes? They're insane. and they get
Message
they
coming
are
in.
they are
See what
absolutely.
he has to say about the black man.
Oh God, no, he's a racist. Yeah, we're not gonna. Well, okay, we'll get to that if we want, but I'll just give you one, okay? See if you guys can see it on the screen. What we affirm is that we must proceed along the path of liberation, even if this costs millions of atomic victims. So the Butcher of La Cabana, as he came to be known, was hotly anticipating a nuclear war with the United States and Russia. Guevara would be happy to see any number of people die as long as he could institute socialism. The U.S. is the great enemy of mankind. Against those hyenas, there is no option but extermination. If the nuclear missiles had remained in Cuba, we would have fired them against the heart of the U.S., including
Message
New
coming
York
in.
City.
Patching it through.
That's his
Wow,
least...
what a pleasant guy.
That's his, this is on a scale from 1 to 10 out of 10 quotes. That's the least crazy. Okay?
I want to hear the most crazy.
Oh, we go through racism and
Yeah,
other
bring
things.
it up. Bring it up.
You want to go through 10 crazy psychotic quotes of Che Guevara? I don't know if you guys want to go.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
have the
I do.
Che Guevara or Movie Bob quiz.
We need a vote. Okay, everyone who wants to listen to the quote, say aye. Aye.
All right, here's number 2.
Aye.
So the first one was, let's bomb and eradicate America. Okay, that was his plan, to destroy the massive superpower that was America back in the 60s. Okay. Here's number 2. To send men to the firing squad, judicial proof is unnecessary. These procedures are on an archaic bourgeois detail. This is a revolution. So not only does he want to eliminate an entire people, he wants to eliminate the courts and just kill people because it's too slow.
We're not killing people fast enough.
Sounds like a peaceful guy.
I don't need proof to execute a man. I only need proof that it's necessary to execute him.
No, Matthias, you said it wrong. He's a mostly peaceful guy.
Oh yeah. That's
After
I
he butchers
got it
everyone,
wrong.
yes, there is peace. That is true. Okay, number 3. This is going to take a while, but okay. We must eliminate all newspapers. We cannot make a revolution with free press. So we've eliminated an entire group of people. We've eliminated the judiciary, and now we're eliminating freedom of speech.
Wow, what a symbol for peace.
What an amazing revolutionary this guy is. It just keeps getting worse from here on in, guys.
All those hippies really didn't look into what we actually said.
Here we go.
You can't make news. You need to listen our news.
We executed many people by firing squad without knowing if they were fully guilty. At times, the revolution cannot stop to conduct much investigation. So, if you're accused of something, you will die. There is no trial. There's no opportunity to learn the facts or the truth.
Sucks to be you. Nice face you got there, Shem. I'm going to put a bullet in it.
Here we go. Here's the racism. The black is indolent and a dreamer, spending his meager wage on frivolity or drink. The European has a tradition of work and saving, which has pursued him as far as this corner of America and drives him to advance himself, even independently of his own individual aspirations. So he doesn't seem to like black people too much, apparently.
Yeah, I would be
Message
dead
coming in.
if he was the
Patching it
world
through.
leader.
Not the nicest guy to different people of different backgrounds, apparently. I don't know why. So racist, genocider, destroyer of the courts, kill all the lawyers, no opportunity for trial, so habeas corpus. Yeah, great guy. Fantastic.
So based and read pilled. Very based. Very based and
Here we go. He's drinking mate or whatever you call that drink. Hatred as an element of the struggle, a relentless hatred of the enemy, impelling us over and beyond the natural limitations that man is heir to, and transforming him into an effective, violent, selective, and cold-killing machine. Our soldiers must be thus. A people without hatred cannot vanquish a brutal enemy. So we got to turn all of our soldiers into killing machines that don't think or feel. Okay, I mean that's effective. I won't give them that. It's efficient. Okay, here's more. I ended the problem with a .32 caliber pistol in the right side of his brain. His belongings were now mine. So,
Jesus.
I don't know what to tell you. I just shot him in the head, and all of his stuff is suddenly in my possession.
I mean, we do that in games all the time, right? We kill people and take their stuff. So I guess he's right on that point of what does a dead man need a pair of boots for? I don't know.
You do that on Tropical.
So he was talking about the death of Ultimo Guerra, who he accused of spying. So he accused someone of something. Doesn't matter, you're dead. And all this stuff is his. So whatever he says goes. And the page is taking its while to load. For whatever reason. There it is. Our technical comrades at the companies have made a toothpaste which is good as the previous one. It cleans just the same, though after a while it turns to stone. I don't know what this is about, but in the text preceding it says, Che Guevara was widely known to be an economic illiterate and a liar. Between 61 and 63, so many people were suffering from his land reforms that Guevara was having to give embarrassing explanations for why the products of socialism were so terrible, and Cuba required somewhere between $65 billion and $100 billion from the Soviets just to survive. So he doesn't know economics.
Message coming in.
He doesn't realize socialism doesn't work, and he has to lie about it. Like toothpaste not being good enough.
Sounds like a normal socialist state.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember back in the day, there was tooth not paste, but tooth powder, and you have to scrub it in with some water to make a gel to wash, because it was easy to preserve than actual toothpaste. So obviously toothpaste has changed over the years, but I'm just saying the stuff that the socialists made wasn't very good. My nostrils dilate while savoring the acrid odor of gunpowder and blood. I'd like to confess, Papa, at that moment I discovered that I really liked killing.
Here I go killing people again.
So this is a letter to his father in his motorcycle diaries, showcasing how much he loved killing people.
Old habits die hard, I guess.
I just you do think one thing very well. You get really good at it. You enjoy it. That's just how it goes. And here's number 10. It's a sad thing not to have friends, but it's even sadder not to have enemies. So this guy he was looking for a fight. That's a strange philosophy to have in life. And it sort of undermines everything else because it sort of explains him as a person. He was looking for people to hate, ultimately kill.
Should have been saving what he loved.
Oh, Shiny. But he loved killing. He obviously loved killing, Shiny. So, anyway, that was the top 10 crazy quotes from Che Guevara. I wasn't expecting to do that.
When it's next time on Watch Mojo.
Yeah, next time on Watch Mojo. Okay.
Che Guevara seems like a normal, decent human being.
Oh, yeah, he's great. Great guy. Fantastic. Oh, jeez. Okay, let's get back to the Super Chats, and we'll continue with the video. Sorry to bring everyone down there. Oh, jeez. Alex Halo. Remember,
I'm having a laugh.
You're having a laugh? Okay, that's always when I read that, I was like, my God, this man's insane. Remember, otaku means obsess with hobby, not politics. Yes, this is true. The same with fanaticism or fan. We obsess over a thing we like. And I can't think of, or imagine a politician being a fanatic or a fan of politics. That seems a little strange. Most politicians I read about, they do it because people ask them to, or there's a calling or a problem that they go into politics, not because they're going to make a living out of it. Although we see that a lot in people who have been in there for like 20, 30 years. Joe Crazy, thanks again. It's funny how goobers like this think Che was some kind of saint. Well, he did do things along the lines for his people that were good, like he was a doctor in some cases when he went to Africa. But, behind that is this crazy, militaristic, violent nature.
You can say Hitler did some good things. Like legit, I'm not even joking. You could say that Hitler, helped his economy a lot. He helped
Is the Autobahn.
He helped developed a lot of things. I think car production was helped also due to Hitler.
Okay.
A lot of laws for worker protection and stuff like giving workers breaks and like lunch break. They didn't used to have that before the National Socialist Workers' Party.
Yeah, so a lot of things you can look at that Hitler did well. It's just all the bad things he did overshadowed the good, unfortunately. And he was a bit of a fucking insane nutcase.
I think the worst thing he did was not burning France to the ground. God, I fucking hate France.
Then it deserves being burnt to the ground. There you go.
The tragedy,
France.
The tragedy. That's
obviously, look, he has nothing on Mao Zedong. Obviously, he needs to get up to his level of killing.
Oh, the bird war, the Chinese bird war. I know you're gonna bring this.
Well, it's all about, mass death.
And mustaches.
All right. Alex Halo, a deadly but mostly peaceful revolutionary. Yeah, no, he was... he was something. Joe Crazy again. Dang, not even time in the gulag. He's just dropping the pretense and sent them to the squad. Yeah, no, he's like... He had plenty of bullets. So, he just used them. Whereas I think
he bought lots of bullets with that money from the Russians.
From the Russians, yeah. We need more bullets, please. Thank you. No. not food. Bullets, yeah.
Give me bullets.
Not toothpaste or food. No. Just kill more people. Joe Crazy.
Hey, you can give us nukes. Totally, we're trustworthy. Huh?
The same people who criticize the military-industrial complex also look up to guys like K. Or I don't know. That's a two-way street because you're thinking in terms of war is bad and we all agree that's bad, but there's a certain need for defense and the military to exist. I think the states just take that on a global scale and they ended up becoming the policemen of the world, whether that's as a result of the ramping up from World War II. It's hard to describe because I'm not into these sorts of history lessons or what caused them, but we all agree that war is bad. Characters like K is misunderstood or not listened to, not read about to understand where he came from, what he was trying to do.
It's the cool face.
It's the cool face. Yeah, he is the poster child for revolutionary behavior, which we do admit involves violence, but not to the level that K wanted. Taker 610.
Literal genocide.
Nuclear genocide, yeah. Taker 610.
No, literal genocide and nuclear genocide. He wants all kinds of genocides.
Every flavor.
Just a cheeky bit of genocide. Just as a treat.
A bit of persecution, a bit of racism.
Oh.
Well, I've been good. I deserve it.
Cheeky bit of no evidence needed.
Just a cheeky bit of genocide,
So Taker 610.
Just to treat myself.
Even witches got a trial, even if it was a sham. Well, I mean, you can go on and on about what happened in the medieval world and with Salem, but
no one expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah, that's another story we're not going to get into.
I mean, they were the fire pit. Even if it was a sham.
Here is
solid... Well, you throw the lady in the lake, or a man. Sometimes it can be a man. You throw them in the lake, and if they sink, then obviously they're innocent.
And they're not made of wood.
Then they're not a witch.
It's not.
Well, I'm afraid they're a witch. If you burn this person alive, they're not going to be a witch. But if they happen to somehow survive being burnt alive, well, you have a witch.
All right.
Can't fault that logic over the person you proved to be innocent is now dead.
Here's an awesome name with an awesome icon. Solid Redfield. Wow. And, I guess he wouldn't like, or I guess the Cavernacle wouldn't like your icon very much, but, he's not here. Hey there, Smut. I just discovered your channel from your previous video about the the Crapernacle. And sub right away. Well, thank you very much. And, of course, thank you again for your next super chat. The Craper Nacle? Nackel. Seems
This
to like
message coming in.
Yeah.
Patching it
Seems
through.
like going after the quarter pounder. Sorry, the what? I can't pronounce.
Is that a misspelling of quartering?
Oh, the quartering.
It's a nickname for him. It's just a nickname that some people have given.
Why do they call him
quarter
that?
pounder.
What's the quarter pounder?
It sounds like a McDonald's.
Yeah, I know, but what is it? What does it mean?
He's fat.
Is he?
He's a burger.
What does that mean, though?
I think it's making fun of him being out of shape, combined with his username being really stupid.
Okay.
And he's a burger.
All right. I mean, that's fine.
So, like, someone probably just said it just idiosyncratically because they didn't know the name. They're like, I don't know, the quarter pounder guy. That guy.
Yeah. Okay.
And then it just grew from there.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know.
Maybe it also sounds a bit like a wrestling name as well.
Oh, yeah?
Quarter pounder.
You're serious? That's a wrestler's name? I never heard of that guy.
Does sound like a wrestler.
No, yeah, I said it sounded like it could be a wrestling name.
I know,
That's
but
a great idea.
the way that
His signature move would be the quarter pound.
oh dear. The thing is that Solid Redfield is spelling it with QAU, and I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce that, so I just said quarter pounder. Later, maybe he's
Let's just
butthurt
go
that
with that.
Jeremy can actually grow a full beard. Yeah, I know that guy can grow a beard for sure. So, yes,
I think we
were
should call
about
this
to
guy the
do.
quarter pounder from now on.
We were about to do a video that did talk about Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, and
No, he's talking about Jeremy from quartering. I think his real name is Jeremy, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
A lot of Jeremys
Yep.
in the anti-SJW crowd.
oh, okay.
What was it? Isn't Nerd Erotic also a Jeremy?
He's Gary.
Oh, Gary. He's close enough.
One of those.
Close enough.
Oh.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Jeremys.
And
I don't
I'm
know.
all for critiquing the critics. I love that. I just don't know whether this guy does a good job enough doing a critique. Probably because we know people like Xander Hall and all these other folks that don't have any substance to them. That
It's like, we're here to smash the anti-SJWs. Oh, look how intellectual I am.
I don't remember.
I bet they like Jordan Peterson.
I don't know if
Got
they've actually considered themselves anti-SJW or even think that way. They just look at people who say crazy shit and report the news. Like, that's all they're doing.
Yeah, it's not their fault that left-wing people just happen to say crazy stuff a lot.
Yeah, I'm not like right wing.
Oh,
At least I don't
unless you-
consider myself right wing.
They,
but I
they
end
probably
up,
they
you know,
probably
siding
really like
against the
left-wing
left a
people
lot.
because they give them work.
I'm trying to understand
Yeah.
the relationship, but it just seems like we say stuff like we get criticized all the time, and we don't mind it. We're just waiting for actual criticisms to come that is relevant to a point. Because honestly, the stuff we
have
do on
Pingu.
the stuff we do on Smudcast is just for fun. Like, this is just relaxing.
Just
And-
shits and giggles.
And we
No,
can't
but,
have
Pingu
points.
made a video about us.
Pingu? Who's that?
King Emperor Penguin.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, he's a smart guy though. Like, he's a
No,
reasonable.
that's what I was saying. He made a video about us.
Yeah. And we had him on. He's a nice guy. We could chat with him at any
I
time.
call him Pingu because he's a penguin. None of you seen Pingu?
I know, Penguin.
I saw. I
call him Pingu. He's the penguin. That's all I need.
Well,
There
like,
you go. You got it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so Smudboy says this is just entertaining. It is entertaining. But I know LiteratureDevil says that too about his videos and stuff. But I don't just find it entertaining. I also find it educational. I think it's a little bit of both.
Oh sure.
Well,
Yeah,
if you're
critiquing
getting
this
educated
argument.
from the Smudcast, then I'm sorry, you need to. You're getting your education for the wrong place.
Oh, I'm just vibing with my baguettes.
Well, especially
I'm
if you're
just
getting
getting-
education
it's fun.
partly from me. Oh, that's a bit scary.
Well, I mean, it's not so much what you say. It's more what.
Oh,
I'm not trying to be. I didn't mean it like that. I just mean that. I think that
wow!
It's not what you say.
I see.
I didn't mean it like that.
You see drama going on right here.
Oh no.
Yokai, you can blame Hawk here. in
There
this
you go,
podcast.
just blame
That's
Hawk.
the meme.
That's the baseline. Whenever you have a problem, just Hawk probably did something. He started
Hawk
something.
did this.
Fucking Hawk.
Hawk was about to come on.
Why you did this?
Yeah.
How does he do it? He's not even in the.
Yeah, no,
thing
he was
and
about to come on. He
It's all
said,
Joel's fault.
Yes.
Yes. Maybe Hawk is Joel.
Oh.
You just connected the dots, Dollface.
Anyway, we got 10 minutes left. I don't know if we're going to finish tonight, but we'll try. He's going really quickly, so that's good.
Game. So the CIA are the baddies in this game, right? Snake is ex-CIA, but he's fighting the CIA in Nicaragua. And Nicaragua is obviously going through its revolution fought by the socialist Sandinistas. So Amanda tells you all about this stuff. She tells you about US imperialism in Central America. She teaches you all about how the National Guard, backed by the US, was established in Nicaragua. She teaches you about her principles and her...
The enemy's only kind of our CIA. It's more about the one CIA officer going rogue than anything else.
No, but he's saying it teaches you about American imperialism. It teaches you about these things.
Does it?
Do you know the United States had a Big Mac that can shot nuclear missiles?
America always has Big Macs, so that's just always kind of assume.
So I'm
Just
not the
imagine
only
like
one
a
that
Big
heard
Mac. Just imagine a Big Mac, like like that scene in Independence Day, but it's just a Big Mac instead of.
By Mac, do you mean magnetic accelerator cannon?
No, I mean a giant robot suit.
Oh, Big
Well,
Mac.
No, yeah, he said Big Mac, but I heard Big Mac, but I knew he meant Big Mac.
I just got this image in my head. This scene from Independence Day with just a big fucking burger. This fucking burger just destroying the White House.
I'm sorry for my.
I thought you guys were just being
accent,
funny when you said Big Mac.
The one thing that gave in my head is like the image of a super fat guy with an American flag hat, and a just portable nuke launcher, and his nickname is Big Mac.
Well,
I don't know
That
why.
can be a comic. That can be a good comic, actually.
So in Peace Walker, yes, the CIA is kind of the enemy. The Soviets are also the enemy, and etc. So there's all kinds of enemies.
It's mostly the new organization that Zero is making, isn't it? That's who Pass is working for.
I'm trying to remember because I do recall what's his name, Zadornov or Coldman. That's what. Yeah, that's
I know who you mean.
Coldman was the guy. I think. Yeah, the Coldman was the enemy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hot Coldman, right?
But he, towards the end, of course, he does another. Hey, I was a spy all along. And I think that was Paz who was working for.
Right.
I forgot the organization, but the one that Zero is making at the time. Cypher.
Was it
Oh my
NORAD?
God,
Or Cypher?
I'm
I can't
really sorry to
remember.
interrupt, but this video, he's got another video, and it's got about 6K views. So it's from about 5 months ago, and the video title is "Why Hassan Piker and Vosh Are the Future of the online left for better or for worse."
Oh no!
Vosh, you heard it here first. Is the future of the left?
I'll even take
my
Tabernacle
God.
over fucking Vosh. Fuck off, god damn.
Oh my God! What is this thumbnail? What is this? A joke? This can't be serious. Okay,
Show us the thumbnail.
Shiny, it's on the screen. Shiny, if I say you are the future of Star Wars critique or whatever, and I have a thumbnail where it looks like you're blitzed out of your mind.
Get the fuck out of here! What is this?
I'll take a screenshot. I don't know. I'll look into the comments and see.
Stop.
Hey, there you go. There's the screenshot.
What the fuck?
All the comments saying.
I really saw better thumbnails than this thumbnails.
Is Tabernacle just putting on a show? Is he just joking around? Maybe the video is just a joke. Maybe the rest of his stuff is serious. I don't know.
Maybe.
Oh, there's just a random comment about the Young Turks for some reason. The Young Turks, named after Hassan Piker, a Median genocide likely story.
Oh, here's his quote. Besides me, who is the best leftist content creator and who has the best dab?
Oh my god.
Hassan and Vosh may not be good outside the internet, but they are taking back corners of the internet from the alt-right, and that is absolutely a good thing. What is this guy talking about?
They may not be good outside the internet.
He's taking back parts of the internet from the alt-right.
What are you on about, bro?
Okay, so does that mean that LitDev is the alt-right then? Because Vosh did try and comment on him.
I am far
They're
right.
not, what do you mean they're not good outside? They're not good on the internet. Have you fucking seen the shit he puts on his own fucking channel? He posts himself. It's fucking insane.
Vosh himself
Holy
like
shit, man.
he defends like what was it? He's never heard a legal reason for why drawn child porn should be illegal.
Do you
Or
have
even
a
actual
source?
child porn?
I've been designated,
excuse me?
I've been designated like right wing, far right or whatever it is by some of those weirdo websites. Like Mahler,
right.
Mahler's been designated partisan right, far right. So
My favorite
Mahler's been designated far right
Vosh-
also.
Sorry. My favorite Vosh clip ever is the one where he's ranting about Antifa never having killed anyone, and then
Oh
people in
yeah,
the
yeah,
chat
and
were
the
saying-
stone
Anyway,
toss meme. He's
that
ranting the stone toss meme.
people in the chat were saying there were, and then they posted a link. He put up a link
Bruh.
of an article. He was constantly ranting, and then as soon as he read the article, he was like, "Oh shit."
Well,
just shut up.
Oh, I have a video.
They were
of
mostly peaceful protests, guys.
Mostly peaceful murders.
Yeah.
No, it's too big. No, I have a video of Vosh, but I can't upload it. It's too big.
Oh dear. Okay, well, we can keep going, I hope, because
Let's go on with the video.
back to video games. Thank you, Solid Redfield again. I'm gonna guess the Craper Nacelle. I can't pronounce that. We'll ignore how on MGS3 Big Boss can murder defenseless Soviet scientists.
Crapper Nickel. Is that's the YouTuber?
Crapper Nickel?
It's Carver Nickel.
Well, no, I'm reading the super chat, Shani. I can't pronounce it. I'm sorry.
He's having a play on the YouTuber's name, Crapper Nickel.
Can murder defenseless Soviet scientists with white phosphorus. I'm trying to remember where in MGS3 you can use white phosphorus. I can't recall. Where is that in the game? Do you guys remember? I can only think of the line Spec Ops, where that's a whole plot point, but not in Metal Gear Solid 3. I do remember a mini nuke being set off by Volgin, but not Snake launching
Message coming in.
white phosphorus.
Patching it through.
So I could be wrong. Anyway, Tyler Preston. Lone Star, the hill I'm looking at. Yeah, I know. I don't know. Hussar Zve. Mostly peaceful brown shirts, Vosh. Yeah, fantastic. Vosh is a whole other story. Let's not change topics.
The reacting to the rape victim and then turning on her as soon as he said the rapist was Muslim.
What?
You seen that video?
Yes, I have.
All right, just send me the clip. I'll watch
I think
him
I
later.
have it somewhere.
I'll watch him later. Okay, this is too good to pass up. Anyway, thank you for the donation. Tribaceous Tea. That's a cool name. You guys have been killing it lately. Super active and some great guests and good material. Thanks for the content. Well, thank you very much. I'm sure everyone else on the panel appreciates that too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
Much obliged.
Mostly racist guests.
But you know what? We're only as good as the people we cover. So we got to thank Vosh and the Cavernacle.
The reason why I'm so racist on you is because I'm trying to keep up with you guys. Okay.
What?
I don't think you can keep up.
Well, this is the competitive server, so
Oh yeah, that's right.
it's easy to get
You
overwhelmed as a
You gotta
casual.
start
I
paddling
understand.
faster, man.
I gotta step up my
Yeah,
game.
it's hard.
Gotta kill some people with the nuclear fire next time. All right.
And her socialist views.
In the 19th century, an American mercenary named William Walker seized power in Nicaragua.
I'd heard he exploited rivalries between the political parties.
Even after we expelled him, the Americans sent in their Marines under the pretext of quelling political unrest.
And the real reason?
To intimidate the government and thwart the construction of the Nicaragua Canal.
I thought the U.S. already has the rights to build a canal in Nicaragua.
They never intended to build a canal there. They'd already started digging in Panama. A canal in Nicaragua would break up the Panama Canal's monopoly. Reason enough for America to stick its nose into our affairs.
They snagged the rights so nobody else could build there.
It was General Sandino who finally stood up to los Yankees.
And that is just so interesting to me that someone has put forward this faction in a game when they don't have any representation, really. The only other game I can think of where I've played in Nicaragua is probably like one of the Black Ops games, where of course I'm not fighting for the Sandinistas.
Representation.
So what that showed me, even as a young person who was learning history at the time and really loved history, it showed me another side of history that I didn't know. Now, I've criticised British education, and
Well, that doesn't mean that it happened. You could have fucking done some research. I mean, at least later on.
I don't think once you take their full education from Metal Gear Solid, that might be a good idea not to do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure
There are games that have a little bit of history in them that can be useful. Metal Gear's not that.
It's cool to put, like, I don't know, historical elements into your video games as well. It's like, this thing, it happened. Oh, that's interesting, I guess. But then, like, trying to get, like, you shouldn't take everything you see in a video game as that happened, because that's going to be pretty not a good education. Let's put it that way.
I think you actually put it really well. What his problem is that he's just looking at something that has historical attributes injected into it, just for purposes of plot and lore, what have you. That's exactly right. And it's like this guy, he doesn't know how to. He's trying too hard to be sensational, because just look at the name of the video. But he's also really that dramatic, where he's like, yes, this made me this way. I think a better paper to maybe want to write would be something like this. Why is one scene in particular? So why is the Nicaraguan canal, the Panama Canal rather, why is its usage in Metal Gear relevant? That would be a better. Why is it relevant? Why is it significant? That would probably be a better topic. Something that he would probably learn a little bit about himself if he wrote something like that. But instead, he's wanting to be sensational, and then he's doubling down on it. He's like, yes, this made me leftist. It's silly.
Also, I would like to say that it's fine, sometimes even good, to be critical of what you're taught. But it's not saying like, I was taught this, and I'm critical of this, how this game showed me another side, so that must be the other side. It's like, no, just because a game showed you a different perspective doesn't mean that actually was the different perspective of the time.
Like, for easily the game could, I don't know, make something up about Che. Fuck, alright, what was it? Already fucked up his name. Che
Guevara.
Che Guevara. They could make up anything about him that they want, and all of a sudden this guy would treat it like it's true. And obviously there's the thing about the history is obviously written by the victors. British history, it takes down notes of the American Revolution from the British perspective. Americans take it from the American perspective, both of which are biased to an extent, which leave out information to make it look like, oh, their side's better. But at the exact same time, that you can still take both parts and say, okay, well, this part obviously didn't happen. This part did. There's evidence for this, that, and the other. And it's not like you should just accept something because it's the underdog, or accept something just because it's a different telling, because someone else could be lying. It's like, hey, did you know that Hitler actually won World War II? and or the Nazis, they were actually the good guys. It's like, okay, no, we can factually say that this is false and that you're telling me a bunch of bullshit.
It's like using Vinland Saga as your ideal for
Vikings
what the
history.
Vikings were as your source of information.
Or Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Well, I think we can agree that video games, because of their fictional nature, they're at best revisionist. They're not going to give you a full account of whatever. And plus, there's nothing wrong with having one of the characters talk to Snake about, how bad the Americans were. I'm sure there's all kinds of political strife with two countries trying to figure out who's in control of the military and defense, and they want to give, like the Americans want to donate, but there's also the Soviets coming in. They're trying to help and take power as well. Like, this is a common thing throughout history. So there's always going to be discussions and arguments on either side. But
I mean, if you want to say that America and Britain and it has done bad things, yeah, sure. What country hasn't done bad things? If you want to compare them to something like the Soviet Union had to build a giant wall to keep their people from jumping over the fucking border between East and West Germany, or they tried to jump over the out of the
East Berlin.
No. I just said East and West Berlin. I'm talking about like the rest of the countries which are over Soviet rule. I can't remember what the bloc was called, but they tried to jump the Soviet communist countries.
The Warsaw
Pact. Anyway, they were trying to get out of the countries, and the Soviets like, nah, you can't escape. It's we're just gonna build a wall here because we don't want you to go to the capitalist side.
Oh. All right. Well, we got 8 minutes left. I think we can do it if he keeps talking quickly. Or the way he's doing
gulags.
We're pretty.
We can defend gulags.
12 minutes out of an hour and 50 minutes of us streaming. That's pretty good, guys. So, yeah, good job. Considering we have a full house, I'm impressed. Anyway, Solid Redfield again. You guys are really enjoying the stream. There were white phosphorus grenades you could get from holding up enemies. I did not know that. Wow, because whenever I play Metal Gear Solid 3, I'm always shooting people in the head and knocking them out and just keep running. So I don't know.
Sorry, George said something. So I shouldn't trust Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter to completely be accurate, right?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, no, that one is accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I thought that was historically accurate.
The vampire part is accurate. I don't know about the rest of it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of sketch.
Yeah, there's some debate.
But the vampire part is 100% true. There's no debate there. That's just fact.
Mm-hmm.
He freed the slaves, then he went and killed vampires. It just,
And I think it's really flawed in the way it shows you communism versus capitalism and the Cold War. So I remember we learned about what communism was, and then learned about Stalin's Russia, and then we learned the Cold War from a really Western-centric point of view. There wasn't any nuance there. So my whole worldview is really brainwashed. America, good. Soviet Union, bad.
Funny enough, the Soviet Union did a lot of bad things. Who fucking knew?
Also, maybe that's not the case in the UK, but funny enough, over here in Central Europe, America is not looked upon very favorably at all.
I mean, it's a source of a lot of jokes, which Americans take as us insulting them, which is, it's more banter. Americans just don't really understand banter. But yeah. Like, I don't think we actually teach that much American. I know some people complain, it's like, the UK education system doesn't teach other languages very well. They're optional. It's after a certain grade. It's like, okay, yeah, you learn a bit of German, a bit of French, but not many people stick with it because there's only so much you can teach. Same with if you take history, or if you're doing it before your GCSEs, there's only so much they can cover in the few terms they have with you. So they teach you about the King Henry VIII, Second World War, bit of the First World War. That they teach you just a bunch of stuff. Really,
it's not really the place for nuance.
They can't teach you everything, so they can't teach you. We're teaching you the perspective of the Soviet Union in the Cold War, or we're going to teach you intricately about the American Civil War, or we're going to teach you intricately about this, that, and the other. As long as they're like reporting the facts, is like, okay, this factually did happen in history, this or that also happened, then there isn't that much of an issue, really.
Like,
and
if you really care about it,
want to learn more about history, then take it further than fucking GCSE.
Like, you don't even need to do it necessarily in like proper education per se. Like, even just doing your own research, like you can find papers and things like academic papers and
well, yeah, but he's
just
saying,
look shit up. It's not that hard.
He's saying there's a bias towards depicting communism as bad. It's like there's really not that much of a bias. It's kind of like they killed all these people, they stole all the land, they murdered all the farmers, and there was all kinds of horrible problems.
No, but Americans did bad things.
Oh yeah, of course, but not at
Also,
the scale.
that wasn't real communism.
You see over here, American did the bad.
Wow, I am impressed.
Like it's somehow comparable. It's like, okay, yeah, what country hasn't done a bad thing? But there's a huge difference between the freedoms that Americans have compared to the freedoms which people in the USSR had. And the people who were, doing fantastic.
Typical Western colonialist perspective.
It's all just fucking biased because people totally weren't. And there are lots of people were fleeing for communist countries. They were just really excited to be communist. They're all just going over there because communism was doing so well.
They were just trying to have elongated vacations from Soviet Russia.
Okay.
They were just doing it for recreational reasons. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
I know some of them came to fight vampires.
Any communist
Yes, that is
bad. Whether that is the the Viet Cong and the NVA, whether that is the Sandinistas, whether that is the Cuban revolutionaries, they're all bad in my view because they want to spread Soviet authoritarianism everywhere, and the US wants to defend freedom. But what Hideo Kojima showed me with Peace Walk in particular is that I've been brainwashed essentially, and there is so much nuance, and there is another side of the coin which I'm not taught. And when
there is another side of the coin to fucking Hitler. It doesn't mean that he didn't do bad things or he wasn't on the wrong side of history.
But Churchill bad though.
There's obviously more intricacies than just what we're told. We don't know we don't really get taught things like how German soldiers were given crystal meth to remove empathy and to make them not sleep, essentially turning them into super soldiers, and it would to boost their morale as well. We don't get told about the good things Hitler did to help the country, which we just went over a little bit earlier. We don't really go over all this other stuff because even though these are intricate and there's a lot of nuance to everything in life, it's just easier to say Hitler did this, that, and the other. Let's go. We just need to know the important things he did, and the important things were the bad, the Holocaust, the war, invading Poland.
I'm curious why we never learn about the Muslim division of the SS.
It wasn't a division, yes.
There's lots of stuff that we do not know about the wars of the world, so I get it. There's an alternate side to everything, but we know the main points, and the main points are pretty big, and that's why they're lessons for future generations. Say never do this again, which is kind of strange when we talk about America and everyone's scared that
I'll fucking do it again.
Trump is going to launch a nuke in the next 6 days or something. It's like, no, are you?
I'll fucking do it again.
Yeah, it's like, what are you talking about? Where did that come from? So, yeah, it's just crazy rhetoric that does not have any bearing. So, anyway.
Taught about the Sandinistas' struggle at the hands of the West, then that really made me start to rethink my own politics. Not in a massive way to start with, because I was just a kid, really, and I was still naive. But it made me think there is more to the world. There is more to history than I'm being taught. And it sort of plays into the themes of Peace Walker in general. Snake left the US because he was sickened.
The themes, so I got to mark that down on my...
The themes.
Oh, yeah, right.
The theme.
The themes.
I need you to.
My themes.
Okay, I'm good.
About Cold War politics. He's sickened about what they did to the boss. He doesn't even want a nation. And MSF's logo is Pangea. It's about being one in the world. It's about being united. And that's the point of Big Boss's mission after the boss has died, to unite the whole world. And that all
Real communism has never been tried.
Actually, that's not his mission. The name is Militaire Sans Frontières, so it's a military without a country. And that's their mission, to create their own, basically, heaven, their own place. For them, for soldiers, so they can basically always soldier on. It's not about uniting the world.
So their
about
logo...
uniting
No, yeah,
the
uniting the
soldiers.
world was what Major Zero wanted to do.
Yes, Major Zero wanted to unite the world, which then created the Patriots.
And that was why Major Zero wanted to manipulate Big Boss, because he found him useful in doing so. But that wasn't because Big Boss had the same goal.
So there's the logo.
It was all about the interpretation of the boss's final words, basically.
Now, on quick glance, that looks to me like a shattered skull, but in reality, the background is, or the rest of the shape is Pangea, which represents a unified landmass. But the idea exactly is, as Crazy Philosopher said, it's a military without a country. They're guns for hire.
you think about the concept of nations and how it is kind of ridiculous. So that was all super interesting to me as well. And then you have conversation.
And when I think about
the concept of a nation is ridiculous.
Well, no, I was about to say about if they're guns for hire, isn't that a rather anarcho-capitalist view of police and military? It's like you pay us
basically.
So how is Metal Gear? How is Naked Snake or whatever we call him communist? If he's advocating for,
did I miss that? He thought the idea of nations was stupid.
The concept of a nation is kind of ridiculous.
It's given that he's not. It's given that this is incorrect. But even if it was true, it's not like he's not the only snake. First of all, let alone the only character viewpoint that we have. This is just a very silly argument.
I'm legitimately curious how the hell he thinks that nations was it stupid?
Bro, it's just lines on a map, bro. It doesn't mean anything. It's just lines on a map.
Culture, I don't know, sovereignty, borders. It's like, hey, okay, so this land is owned by us. We're going to govern ourselves. You keep that land. You govern yourselves, and as long as we don't interfere with each other, we'll be fine. Is that good with you? Okay, it's good with me. Okay, we'll stay over here. You're over there. This river will be the border, and have a good day.
And it's all based on the fact that we have resources to survive and grow and prosper, and that's why we're protecting our land and the stuff in it. And the only way to escape this concept of country, if we ever wanted to, was to have enough resources to facilitate whatever we want, that we wouldn't be concerned if someone were to want something from us. We would have no problem.
You're very muffled.
Very muffled.
Oh yeah.
Very muffled. Maybe it's
all right. That's just that's not me. That's actually the connection, because I was speaking as normally as I always do. But the only concept I can imagine of eliminating a country,
it would have to be one world government, essentially. That's the only way. You would have no
what else
countries.
Are you supposed to do instead of having a country or a border? It's like, okay, we have to be one people. We don't agree on a lot of things. You don't agree that on like if we should be a communist state, or we think that we should be capitalist, but we need to be one people, guys. So I guess we're going to go to war about
I
this.
think
we can't keep ourselves separate. We can't have borders because apparently that's stupid.
Well, no, the idea of a one world government doesn't change the fact that we have, let's say, a landmass and we have a neighbor right next to us. So it doesn't matter if it's a world government or a two-party government where the other party is right next to me. The point I was trying to address is if we want to escape from the concept of having borders, then we would have to evolve as a culture where we have all the resources we would ever need. That location doesn't matter and resources don't matter. And the only possible world I can envision that would work would be anarcho-capitalism, where you could trade freely and everyone has all the resources they need and everyone has everything they would ever want, so there's no requirement. I don't want to take whatever my neighbor has because I already have it, because we have this wonderful balance of resources.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I think people would take things even if they don't need them. I think people would just do it for the sake of having more than the other guy.
Sure.
But like I think basically nations would just kind of form on their own. If you took away all nations, it would just get back to nations eventually.
Like if we eventually start exploring, beyond the world and other governments, I think maybe nations would end up start forming if you did need a. Okay, so let's say we need a world government because there's now like 50 different worlds, and it's just an easier way to govern yourself, or it's to stop the world going to irrelevancy, or whatever the hell would happen with that. There would have to be something world changing, which would you'd essentially need a lot more room as well to have a world government.
We talk about this in science fiction a lot. That's why Star Trek is always brought up. If you have a post-scarcity environment, everyone has access to everything, then the concept of private property ends at the end of your house, and that's about it, because depending on how friendly you are with someone.
I don't think so.
It would.
I mean, Cisco only
ignoring resources. I think the idea of borders is also a lot more about like ideologies which don't mix. I mean, like if you have, I mentioned the example of you believe in X, Y, and Z in running your state. We believe in running our state our own way. Look, so you do you, we'll do us. And we'll just see what happens. We'll leave each other alone. You're letting people, because again, one of the reasons why I was against the European Union for when it started enacting laws is that a lot of these countries really don't agree on what laws should do what. So you're essentially forcing laws onto countries which don't want those laws. Like, for instance, a certain Article 13. If a lot of people didn't want Article 13, but it went through anyway because it had a majority. But then we don't want that.
I think it's just a problem of scale, because obviously most people accept some degree of forcing their views on other people. Most people accept some degree of, we're going to have a vote, and the winner of this vote is that's going to be the rule, even if you don't agree with it within this region. But I think applying that, the larger the region gets, the more that's not tenable. You just can't have a massive region.
But if you have resources for every problem...
I think America is a good example, because America, because of its size and how many states it's a part of, in terms of ideology, they govern themselves in more individually. But another thing about America, I always say that America's greatest strength is also their greatest weakness, is that the fact that they're a huge mass made of so many people, and it creates a lot of problems for the country while making them the biggest economy. It makes them the biggest army. It makes it a lot more corruptible because of a lot of the power. You don't need to. If America was 50 countries instead of 50 states, you have to bribe 50 different country officials.
It's very difficult as well to disentangle the military. It's because it's the U.S. military. It's not like each individual state has a military and they all combine.
I'm saying if America wasn't
military, so it's very difficult to disentangle it.
I'm not saying do untangle it. I'm just saying that America, in terms of if America was 50 countries instead of 50 states, I think it would be a lot harder to corrupt. It would probably be a lot easier to conquer, because it would be like dividing and conquering your enemy, because you just take a state at a time essentially. It would probably help a lot of economies, because a lot of when you put all the taxes up at the top and then redistribute it all, it can cause areas to lose money and it go to other areas, which essentially can make more rich areas more richer and poorer areas poorer for complicated economic reasons.
Probably digressed enough, I think.
Yes, I was going to say that, but anyway. Joe Crazy, thank you, sir. When commie countries do an oopsie, there is nuance, comrade. When Western countries do an oopsie, the heartless monsters, let's burn it all down. That is certainly one way of looking at it.
Yeah,
pretty
I
much.
don't know why people have this hard-on and this broken, bleeding heart for communism. I don't get it. I read as much as I could when I was in school, and I thought, okay, this is not helpful. This is not helping humanity. There are ideas which are good, like the same way Plato has great ideas for creating a state, but when you think about them in practicality, he's betting on people being the best they are, as opposed to the opposite.
Yes.
So it's great to have ideals, but not everyone's going to be these bunch of angels doing all your work for you. So anyway, Taker 610. In the show The Expanse, the UN runs the Earth shutters. Yeah, that's one of the very simple solutions to future government or future humanity.
I don't know if is it Halo, Mass Effect, or The Expanse. I think explain that the countries are. In fact, it could fucking be all of them. That the countries still remain pretty much like individually, like they're still independent to an extent, even though there is a world government.
Yeah, it's an amalgamation of all these concepts, and that's why you have to have some autonomy with people. And I was saying the simplest is the family unit or the ownership of land. And once you have scarcity or post-scarcity of resources, then you can go ahead with all sorts of other designs that, like, thou shalt not kill will be a standard law throughout the planet, and all these other things. Like you would have a charter of rights and freedoms for the planet, and then you would have individual laws on the municipal level, depending on where you wanted to live and how you wanted to, I don't know, have day to day. But anyway, we're not going into that science fiction concept because that's over the top and outside of the scope of this video, which I'm sure is, yay Stalin. So
as much talk only about science fiction would be cool.
Maybe. I mean, we could do that, but that's brainstorming and what have you. Maybe Smud Talk might cover it, but yeah, that's fine.
The Strangelove with Huey, where they talk about the Manhattan Project, they talk about AI. You have conversations with Paz, who talks about Costa Rica not having an army, and you hear about Japan not having an army and stuff like that. And it just really changed my views on a lot of things. Now, I probably was still a lib until I was like 19, 20, but I thank Hideo Kojima with these games in particular for showing me that it isn't so black and white, and you can think you're smart, you can know these facts, you can know these historical, I guess, events well, but still have a really skewed perception on them. Now, Peace Walker...
You can have the facts, but you can have a skewed perception of them.
Wow.
This statement can be taken and thrown right back into his face right now.
Yep. Wow.
The thing is, yeah, you can. He's saying you know the facts, or you can know the facts, but if they're skewed, then it's not all the facts.
It's not totally the facts.
It's
There's something hidden.
If you've skewed the facts with perception, it's no longer all the facts. It's
it's not facts. It's not just the facts. But I think you can know all the facts and still have a weird perception, have like a weird skewed view of it, But it's just like the lack of self-awareness.
Yes.
I get what he's trying to say. You can think that you're right and you'll still be like wrong. That's what he's trying to say. But he said it in such an asinine way. You can have all the facts and still have a skewed biased perception. You can know literally all the knowledge and context there is to know, and you'll still be wrong.
That's why God's a bigot.
That's why God is based.
God is like a guy who puts a magnifying glass over ants.
That's Constantine.
And then writes a tiny book.
It's okay. I'm going to give him a book.
His statement right now is basically kind of the reason why I'm always a bit skeptical of what I believe. Always a little bit. Because it's healthy to be a little bit skeptical of stuff. But he just says it like, right now I'm just perfect, but then I was wrong.
Yeah, because
I
I'm
find that
pretty
so
sure
funny.
he's in the mindset of I'm completely right. No one's like I've never been more righter in my life. I'm enlightened. Everyone else just isn't enlightened enough.
He has evolved as a human being.
Big Vosh vibes from this guy.
Yeah.
I question why.
Tell
She
me
went back
why.
recently at work and listened to all these recordings again just because I like them so much. They're so entertaining, but also very, very informative. Now, I played Metal Gear Solid 3 after that, and it is good with the history stuff, and the boss in particular...
Metal Gear Solid 3 is good with the history stuff? Are you kidding me?
Pick up a fucking history book. You
Okay.
plebe.
In
Why
the intro,
history from Metal Gear Solid? Why?
in the intro to Metal Gear Solid 3, the dates are accurate for the death of Kennedy, I think, or whatever it was. So that's where it was correct. But after that, no.
Remember the jungle that Snake is in Groznygrad or whatever? You ever seen Groznygrad? They don't have tropical climate. They don't have tropical plants. It's a frickin' forest of deciduous trees and coniferous trees. It's snowing in Russia. Like, if the setting's off, don't you think the history's a bit... Like, you have a guy who controls lightning. And punches you with bullets. And rides a Metal Gear with like a bull.
If he said he learned history playing Civilization or Age of Empires, I could say, okay, it's a fast. There's a little bit of information there.
History you can learn from in Civilization. In terms of... Because, in Civilization... Gandhi's a warmonger. And,
that's true, though.
Okay.
Yes.
Shiny, have you actually played Civ 1 and 2, Shiny?
And also, you can learn... I can't remember, but I remember in Civilization, the research tree being all over the place. So you could learn things, something like pottery or boating, like when you've already discovered tanks.
Yes,
it's because they have separate branches that you have to go up. It can get a little disorienting.
I remember
it is funny.
I remember playing Civilization 4, and I had the internet in the 19th century.
Usually, I just I'm just gonna put click the end research tree and then just let the research go on by itself. There you go, automatic researching.
Also, fun fact: the Gandhi being a warmonger was originally glitched, but they liked it so much that they kept it in.
With the real world map, as the UK, I started in Australia.
With England
of uranium.
Message coming in. Patch.
Anyways.
Yes, Joe Crazy. I didn't know a thing about Alexander the Great, but I watched Fate Zero, and now I know everything about him. Oh my! Who's Alexander the Great? That's not his name.
Yeah, did you know that in Apocrypha I learned that Shakespeare can basically Silent Hill people? I didn't know he had that power, but thanks to
what
Fate,
does it mean to Silent Hill people?
Yeah,
basically he just makes all your nightmares come true, and then you have to conquer them.
Yeah, the name.
It's like watching Rambo, and I know everything about the Vietnam War.
Oh God!
I'm still perplexed why this guy is legitimately trying to learn history from Metal Gear. Did you know Che Guevara went to Japan and looked at the nuke site? Did you verify this? Did you look it up seriously and check it was true?
Can you give me a fact check on this?
Is this the bullshit the game made up? Because I'm pretty sure like it wouldn't be too far fetched to say, okay, the game could easily make something up about I want to say Saw Gerrera almost every time.
You can say it because they are basically the same characters.
Saw Gerrera, Che
Guevara,
Saw Gerrera. Maybe inspired by Che Guevara. Oh, well, actually, no, they couldn't be because Lucasfilm is too big. Fucking
even the evil guys on Lucasfilm is a little bit less evil.
He's a little bit less evil on the scale of absolute terror and destruction of civilization. He's not so bad.
Saul Guerrero may be an extremist,
in
but
making
he's
you
not so
see
bad.
how, I guess, futile the battle between certain nations is. I think she says something like, you know, nations and their hostility to one another is only dictated by the current politics, but it doesn't last long, and in the future it will completely shift where different people will be enemies.
I don't get the point of this point. Like, what is the point of this point? What is this supposed to prove?
It's stating the obvious. Yeah, international politics.
Whoa, countries change. Countries not stay
Yeah,
the same.
that's another thing about videos
Whoa.
like this. I don't remember who it was, but we were watching a Venture Brothers video someone did that was similar to this one.
Yes, yeah. Jack Saint on Morning Nonsense.
Yes, that's the guy. And he has the same kind of problem where you can tell that it's like they don't really have a point, and they get kind of lost along the way.
You don't say. It's like talking to a brick wall. It's like, oh, right. What was that? What was I expect? What did I think I was going to get out of this? Like, oh, right.
Yeah, like I don't get what of saying like, wars are different. Yeah, go ahead.
That's why we have so much tangents, because they
This
don't
guy's
have
actually just like the Saint guy.
Yeah.
What was it? Dark Saint? Was that what it was?
Jack Saint.
Jack Saint.
Jack Saint. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy's actually just like Jack Saint. Now that I think about it,
his dark side.
he takes things out of context to prove.
At least he still has a soul.
At least he's still religious. Anyway, solid Redfield again. Hey, thanks. Sorry about the confusion earlier. I assumed since you were talking about the Cavernacle, you knew his name. Yeah, no, I like to do stupid things with my pronunciation of words. I like to call him the Craper. That says Craper, man. Crapernacle for obvious reason. Crapper has to be 2 P's. Crappernacle. I know my crap, and it needs 2 P's. All right, we got 6 minutes. Oh boy, why did that take longer than I thought?
Yeah, we can do it.
And then you have games like Metal Gear Solid 4, which are about the military-industrial complex, they're about AI, they're about control. That's a bit crazy, and that's harder to digest as a kid. Peace Walker was nice and simple, inspired by games like Monster Hunter.
Okay, so number 2 was the craziest, all right? But 4 is kind of like taking PMCs to their, not their conclusion, but their limit. Like, there's all these groups of soldiers that are controlled by nanomachines, and they're all part of a system, and it's all carefully controlled as in a form of economics. Every game does this, though. Every game kind of goes to that extreme level of craziness. Like, what would happen if we had AI controlling everything? Oh, yeah. We get all this crazy
Can we wind it back?
Son.
Can we wind it back a little bit? Did you just say inspired by Monster Hunter?
Oh, I think it's like
about AI,
similar
about
to
control.
Monster Hunter. I think
that's a bit crazy, and that's harder to digest as a kid. Peace Walker was nice and simple, inspired by games like Monster Hunter. It was meant to be digestible, whereas
Wait, what?
In Monster Hunter, the objective is to kill monsters and make armors. That's it.
I don't know if
the
the
story
to Monster Hunter. I'm not sure.
No, the Monster Hunter stories are always, oh, hey, there's a natural disaster because of this new monster, go kill it.
Right.
Basically. But
yeah, basically.
The thing is, I mean, the gameplay is rather complex. I wouldn't give it to a little kid to say, hey, go play
I never
Monster
paid attention. I never paid attention to the story in Monster Hunter.
Who does?
Is it true? Is it inspired by Monster Hunter?
No, I don't think it is.
I don't know where he's getting this from.
Whereas a lot of these other Metal Gear games are very, very heavy. And of course, the direct sequel to MGS Peace Walker is Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain. Now, it sort of takes this concept a bit further. Whereas you have the cutscenes, you have the heavy-handedness of Kojima, but you also have the cassette tapes I like so much. The bad thing is, I don't feel like they're as good as the Peace Walker ones, mainly because they aren't focused on character, they're focused on events. But I still think they do a relatively good job because they talk about the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. And I said Kojima's a socialist, but he's not pro-Soviet or anything.
When the 40th Army crossed the Amu River 4 years ago...
So, wait a second. He's a socialist, but he's not pro-Soviet. Sorry, I thought he said pro-socialism.
Yeah.
Détente went right out the window. The U.S. Congress chose not to ratify SALT II, and Reagan's hardline politics won in the presidency in a landslide. According to him, the Soviet Union's an evil empire. A second Cold War. And there's been no end to regional conflicts and civil wars. Lebanon, the Falklands, Grenada, Iran, Iraq. The story never changes. Egypt and Israel did sign a peace treaty.
So it shows you a lot of the flaws of that conflict, and Russia sending in Central Asians to fight. It makes them seem very disposable to the Soviet Union before sending actual Russians to go fight in the conflict. But then
Right, so he said showing, I think that's just an expression of his, a recording on a radio cassette is not showing us, it's just someone telling you a story about something. So it's basically dialogue.
You learn about things in South Africa, Angola, Zaire. You learn about the South African, paramilitaries and the conflict there. And the really interesting concept in Metal Gear Solid 5 is about the language thing and how English language spreading throughout the world has destroyed a lot of cultures because the US is the dominant country along with...
No, that's not what the game does. The only reason why language is relevant because they develop a bacteria that spreads when you speak English, that kills you when you speak. So, no, it's not about it being taken. Not at all. I mean, the mission where you find out about that virus, or for the first time get hints of it, is where they test it with many different languages.
Yeah.
And the reason why
I don't think that's what he's talking about here, though. I think he's talking about in real life. I think he's talking about in real life.
Yeah, but he connects it to the game, and the game does something completely different to it.
Yeah.
He's projecting his view to something that
so hard.
Not to do this.
Well, again, when it comes to he views Kojima as being socialist, with not actually going for anything he says, just nitpicking information, and he's like, "Oh, I want to see him as progressive, so I'm going to project him as socialist for reasons."
Joe Crazy, a bit crazy, you don't say. The cyborg ninjas and senators with nanomachines are just an everyday occurrence, I'm sure. Yeah, Kojima.
Yeah, it happens here in Brazil every time.
Another son of Big Boss just running around trying to start his own government.
Of Great Britain. So everyone has to speak our language to fit into the empire, to fit into the hegemon. And that means a lot of languages go extinct. And that was a really interesting concept to think about. And just overall, I like the Big Boss games for just being set in a really interesting history.
Oh no! More people speak the same language. What a horrific thing. I mean, obviously they went to lengths which aren't something which you should praise to force people to speak English, but at the same time it's like, oh no, languages have been forgotten, like lots of languages,
but also,
which have been forgotten.
It's not that's not a topic in the game, which I just find so weird that he extrapolated that out from there.
I mean, when you have the whole concept of Rome just conquering the world,
it's commentary on English people putting their language onto others.
But when we talk about conquerors conquering the world like the Romans, they didn't just conquer and kill and change everyone's language. They improved their lives. They did lots of other advancements because they were superior. They had the superior resources, technology, laws, and that was, in many ways, a good thing.
What did the Romans did for us? What did
the Romans do for us? The aqueduct? The roads?
Also, one of the biggest factors of language change or taking over the language of someone else is if people encounter different people who speak a different language and they have certain words for things that, for example, if we now were to meet aliens and they have words for their technology, we don't have the technology, so what words would you use? We would use their words. It just so happens that a lot of technology and new inventions came from English-speaking countries, so a lot of English words are taken over.
Yeah, we can make the same argument about the importance of the American dollar, the oil dollar, or the dollar backed by gold, or the gold back, or all these other things that have influenced the world economy. And you could find that individual element fascinating, and I think it's worthy of historical relevancy to look at. But what he's talking about is that's one part of a scene of why this bacteria was created in the story, so that the character of Quiet is the way he is, and the character of what's the guy's name, Dead Man or Cold Man or whatever, Skullface, whatever, I can't remember his name.
Code Talker.
Yes.
Yeah, Code Talker's another one.
Skullface is the bad guy.
Yeah, but they all know that what the virus does, etc. So that's like one element to find it. And yes, the analogy between but that and English is okay, fine, but that's not what's happening in the story. The story is
Sorry,
something.
my mic keeps fucking up on me.
Really? It's got to be the connection. Let me just switch the to.
No, it's not you. It's not you. It's me, because I'm running a program and I have to keep leaving and coming back to refresh my audio. You're good.
Oh, all right. Alrighty, let's keep going.
Historical time, but making an effort to tell you about the time so you actually understand what is going on, rather than something like, I'm thinking about the new Black Ops game, which is just a greatest hits of the propaganda you've always been fed. No, Kojima went out of the way to show you things that you don't hear in Western education, things you aren't taught in school. He's showing you a place.
Oh, he's showing you the Japanese perspective. Well, is that an accurate perspective of things?
The Japanese perspective of the Bay of Pigs or something like that? It's really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What the hell did Japan have anything to do with Cuba? I don't know.
I don't know. It's just... I find it so weird. He's like, oh, it's a different perspective, so it must be correct. I'm like, wait, what?
I don't get it.
Which is interesting in Central America or Central Africa, and he's showing you why it is the way it is, and how Western countries and how Eastern countries have played a role in creating these conflicts, and I just find that really interesting. Now, I finished Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain in 2015. I was 19 years old. I'm 25 this week. So my sharp turn leftwards...
Oh my fucking god, read what? Stop taking it from video games! What the fuck, dude?
When I was about 21, when I was doing my master's degree in international relations, I actually had this really good socialist professor who taught me US foreign policy and Middle Eastern economics. And
so wait a second.
So he didn't take his school teacher's opinions, but he did take his professor's opinions, basically. so
guys,
he's like, oh well, they're teaching what you don't
fellas,
teach in school.
But when I say
what they do teach you in university, is that what I'm getting from this?
When I play the video games, what I'm really trying to say is I went to school and I had a professor and he taught me the ways of the world.
Yeah.
In the end, it was not even the game that made him what he is. It was his professor.
Nothing to do with his socialist professor, I'm sure. Fuck's sake. And he's trying to portray himself as against the system, or outside of the norm. He has an edgy opinion that is you see, this is not what they teach you in schools, but he has the same opinion as his fucking professor.
It's weird because I don't know why, but I'm getting kind of satanic panic vibes of this game made me this, or even further, it's video games make people sexist or racist or homophobic, or video games make people violent. You know, that kind of idea is but it's almost he's arguing
it's
the opposite.
Yeah. It's because that's how they think. Yeah, because that's how they think they got their views, is through entertainment. So they think everyone else works the same. and they project it onto other people.
Metal Gear Solid turns people into socialist communists.
Yeah, but also I don't even think he's correct. I don't think that this is where he got his views from. I think he's just kind of like this. I think he just kind of likes the idea. I don't think it's anything to do with any entertainment.
Throughout this entire video, I can't even think of what his argument is. This is whole being just a giant pointless rant.
It's literally just the games have what do you call it? The tapes, and they mention Che and socialists, and they're nice about them. Like they're positive about them. That's it.
Yes.
And that he gets all his history from fucking Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Joe Crazy. Again, COD kind of paints the CIA as a general shady. I think COD or there's a few other games that do the Nicaraguan conflict as well. So I don't know if that's also with the CIA, but I think it's in the same time frame. But those are fun little games to have interpretations of how America was involved. That's fine. I don't see a problem with that. Joe Crazy again. A socialist professor, I'm absolutely shocked. You know what? My uncle, who's a really great dude, had a socialist professor. He has very left-leaning thoughts and all those other affectations.
A left-leaning Canadian, I'm shocked.
Oh, yeah, I know. Amazing. So it's not anything unheard of. So it's just that, all the Trump hatred, it's like, yep, same rhetoric from him as opposed to everyone else. So the little difference that there's something that's slightly akin to their philosophy that they don't like, then boom.
I've seen fucking physics lecturers bring up Trump.
Yeah, I know.
Like out of fucking
Really?
nowhere.
Why?
Yeah, like out of nowhere. They'll just be like,
there's something wrong with him. That's why.
Yeah.
I remember it was in 2016. I back when I was still in my high school. I remember that because it was the year Trump won, the IT teacher I had randomly brought up Trump like out of nowhere just to rant about him. He didn't tie it into like what we were doing at all. He just started ranting about Trump.
I
remember
think one of
had
them
a whole
literally said, like,
when Trump won, we had a whole assembly about fucking Trump.
Oh my lord!
I'm not kidding. In the Trump and the American election, because we needed that.
Yeah,
and
I think one of them was literally like
people who were using Trump as an excuse to like not go into work or like go into school, like it's the fucking cold. Like it's the flu.
But yeah, one of my professors, I think they said something along the lines of, and this electron has positive spin, just like the positive spin that Trump tries to put on the news. Got him. Fucking Trump. Literally that retarded.
My professors at the time were too busy ranting about women being oppressed.
Oh.
Who just got shot?
Someone spat into their mic.
I think in 2016 I was making pizza in the chemistry class.
What?
Pizza in the chemistry class?
Yeah, there is chemistry class here in Brazil, and we made pizzas.
Okay.
What a great lesson. I mean, surely you want to do that in I don't know, catering.
We distilled alcohol in our chemistry class, so
pure.
We made things explode.
All right, well that's cool. Let's try and finish this off. This is getting weird now.
There was a
my head
lab
realised that I was done for ages, and I'm not seeing the world the way I should do. I'm not seeing the world through the lens of economics, and I'm really grateful he taught me economics properly, even if it was from a Middle Eastern point of view.
Middle Eastern economics that were done properly.
A Middle Eastern socialist professor.
Wait a second. What school of economics is that? Because I know a bit. I've never heard of Middle Eastern. Let me Google that. One sec.
Middle Eastern perspective.
Jesus Christ. Oh god.
You couldn't write this stuff.
No, there's nothing. There's nothing to do. There's no such school.
You can't make this shit up.
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
What the hell is he talking about?
Something that he pulls out of his mind.
His ass.
This is crazy. I mean, I've heard of a few schools, like the Chicago school, the Austrian school, Keynesianism. There's all these philosophies on how...
One second. I think this is good. Mike Bopp said some spy was indoctrinating him.
Oh my god!
It's a
literally the fucking
spy.
Taliban.
Taliban like broke into
The fucking communist Taliban.
Oh my god! This is
bruh.
Oh shit!
Bruh, I
George
feel
Orwell
like
says
the
Middle
solid
Eastern economics. If you
primed me
steal, you lose
to
a
be
hand.
more accepting of this stuff. Be less pro-Western, be less brainwashed, because it showed me from a young age.
How are you
Be less
brainwashed?
Be less
brainwashed. Be less
brainwashed.
What?
So this is Colin the Kettle Black,
What
right?
the fuck? Oh. How the fuck?
Wow.
It's like
What the heck?
blind
How the
accusing
fuck
other
do you say this
people
with
of
a
being
straight face?
blind.
Like, how the fuck do you say this shit with a straight face? I don't get it.
Be
If you
less
saw this, you will
brainwashed,
say
people.
that we are
Okay, look,
brainwashed.
if there's one thing
Oh,
we can
you're
take away from this
brainwashed,
video,
man.
chat, remember this: be less brainwashed. We don't know who's brainwashing you, how, why, in what way.
Certainly not his
It's the
socialist
two lines
economist from the
other.
Middle
It's
East.
be less pro-Western, and then be less brainwashed right after each other, unironically. Oh,
Don't forget to blame Hawk every time.
Isn't it funny that when you achieve like a status saying I'm a leftist, I'm a rightist, and I'm not brainwashed or I'm not biased?
He's stating that anything he doesn't believe in is, if you believe differently to me, that's brainwash.
I just like if you take a stance, and let's say it's an extreme stance, and you say, "Well, I don't have a bias." What
You're
the hell do you?
sacrificing absolute objectivity the moment that you take that stance.
It's-
you have to be
it's
prepared
strange.
to take responsibility for that.
It doesn't make sense. It's like I'm an extremist, but I'm not biased. It's like, what are you talking about? You just defined yourself as someone who's taking a bias or accepts a bias. And if you're saying, well, this is the only way
the
to look
answer
at...
could be extreme and be like, but it's just like literally admitting that he had a socialist professor, and then saying you need to be being less
broke the brain.
like being anti-Western means you're not brainwashed.
Yeah, but
because
then he
he's
says,
not brainwashed.
Okay, that's fine. This is a stupid
Oh,
comment.
my
Maybe he
word.
doesn't understand the logic. That's fine. But to say there's something like Middle Eastern economics, I've never heard that term, and I don't think there's books on that. Maybe,
Now we know.
But
It sounds like something
this is
that, dare
nothing
I
new.
say,
They
an
love
alt-right
making up
communist would say.
terms
Just a
and not
general rule of
defining them.
thumb: if anyone is screaming, "Everyone needs to think like me," please. And if you don't think like me, then you're brainwashed, and you need to think more like me. Those are the kind of people you really want to stay away from.
all right, we have not passed the 2-minute mark. Like the end, the last two. I always say the last 2 minutes of any video are the craziest.
Where the good stuff is.
We're about 15 seconds away from that. I think we've already achieved it with this, but I don't know anymore. Might have to extend it to 3 minutes.
Okay, we can do this.
That the education system was failing because it was only giving me one point of view. It's coming from the dominant, I guess.
How many chocolate oranges does he have behind him?
Oh yeah, just
Oh damn!
Weird
Oh, I
chocolate
just
oranges.
noticed
Because
there.
they're white. But you can tell they're chocolate oranges because it's got orange written in big letters. These are like
I
seasonal
haven't
versions
seen those
of
ones.
orange.
Because of the
Yeah, they're under the mic in the background. You can see they're just little white boxes. Why does he have so many? How many
maybe he likes chocolate oranges.
Consume?
Like, when was this made? Was this made? I guess.
I mean, I like chocolate oranges as much as the next person. I don't have 3 of them, and possibly more, stacked up on my desk at all times.
Well, yeah, if we see 3, imagine how many we don't see.
Yeah, because the desk can continue beyond them. Or like I don't.
He
know.
actually doesn't have. He actually doesn't have a chair. It's just chocolate oranges.
I don't even picture their. I don't even picture like I'm sure they continue along the desk, but then when the desk ends, I don't think they do.
There is
They
no
keep
desk.
going.
It's just chocolate oranges.
We don't see what's on the floor either.
It's
Could be
fully
more-
stacked up. It's
Well, actually, when you look, the table looks like it's actually behind them.
yeah.
They could be stacked
Yeah,
as high
it
as the
looks
table.
weird.
It's possible.
Apparently, those are Russian chocolates.
Why am I not?
Whoa! Wow.
Of
Like
course.
oranges to me. Yeah, I think that's a joke.
Wow.
I think Sylar is just playing a joke on me. But
I don't know.
But you know, having so many chocolate oranges, maybe that explains his girth.
All right. I can list a few types of economics. I can list a branch of economics. There's macro. There's micro. There's international. There's developmental. There's labor. There's welfare, and of course you have Marxism, classical political economy, Keynesianism, neoclassical, Chicago, and Austrian and subflavors of that. Didn't even hear ever of whatever the hell he talked about. This is driving me nuts.
Well, maybe it's the political ideology that the cognitive dissonance guy subscribes to.
I don't know, but how did he like?
They make up terms, dude.
You can't just say shit like this and expect me to take you seriously anymore.
But they do it all the time.
It's white chocolate orange. Oh, that actually makes sense.
Who cares about the chocolate? Who cares? This guy's inventing entire schools of thought from a socialist
Goes
professor.
on like this 45-minute political rant, and Shiny just in the background. Oh, that's a white chocolate orange.
I've never seen those before. I've only seen like normal ones and dark chocolate.
If this guy has so much white chocolate orange, I want to know how good this is.
I really don't like white chocolate. Honestly.
The chocolate orange.
Is this a British thing, Shiny? Is this really that important?
Yes.
It was just really funny.
Tomato sauce.
It was just really funny because like how genuine his reaction was.
If we were keeping in stereotypes, I should be the one talking about chocolate.
Yeah, that
Oh
would
yes,
be in
the Swiss. Yeah.
Like he couldn't fucking believe he was still talking about the orange.
Anyway, we're almost at the 2-minute mark. This will take us about an hour. So okay.
Group in the world. It's coming from the NATO point of view. It's coming from the British American point of view, and of course we, ran.
All those crazy British Americans like Hawk. Oh god damn it.
Yeah, Jesus.
Black Hawk. I was having Discord seasons, that's why.
It's all
got
Hawk's
out.
fault.
Yeah, it is his fault. And I know that he's watching this.
Most of the world handed it off to the Americans. So I wasn't ever getting this nuanced view. So when he's telling me about the IMF and the World Bank, which I've been taught in school, IMF and World Bank aren't these great things, help rebuild all these countries after World War II. Well, when someone starts telling me it's pretty much just an arm of US imperialism to spread capitalism and crush socialism and crush public ownership, well, I thank Metal Gear Solid for making me skeptical enough to not...
Is that a bad thing? Stopping communism?
Crush? What?
Oh no, they spread capitalism.
Okay, so
no, banks which help people financially spread communism.
Oh no,
That's like capitalism.
supermarkets where food is distributed.
They help economies so they can thrive better as capitalist countries, and they stop them being communist. Oh
It
no!
sounds like his point. The only point he's made that I can understand is I'm gonna try to articulate it for him. He almost said it. It sounds like Metal Gear inspired him into skepticism.
I doubt that.
That's best.
I think that's his
That's-
interpretation
That's
of
me
what
being as
happened, but
generous
I think
as
that's
possible.
wrong.
okay, so
I think it's very much down to
this.
Professor.
the International Monetary Fund is a big thing. It was formed on 1944, part in the Bretton Woods thing, which is backed by gold, all these other wonderful things. But it does promote other things like food and lifestyles and equity for women in the workforce. It does other things than just monetary things. And I'm sure there's some people taking advantage of this and that as all...
No, but it's stopping communism. Therefore, it's bad.
I don't... I mean... that would have to be very specific.
Communism, smart.
You could argue it also.
I love that this guy keeps shitting on capitalism, but then is literally having stacks of Terry's chocolate oranges and Star Wars movie posters.
Yeah, but you bring it back to the chocolate.
Yeah, you could argue that.
I also brought up the movie posters. Like
You don't understand, crazy. The chocolate oranges are the biggest mystery that we found on this video.
We need to find a video of Jack Saint that has one of these in the background. There'll be like a conspiracy.
I've never
theory.
seen white chocolate oranges.
Is this like a Mars bar?
I've never seen those.
There's like this monopoly of people that believe this stuff that like monetize white chocolate oranges.
I've never seen that in real life.
YouTubers all have like the food. I can't remember who the girl was that had the appearing tomato sauce. It would just appear and disappear in the background of the shots.
Tomato
sauce. Occasionally, the tomato sauce would be there, and then it would vanish a second later.
Oh, wait, no, that's ketchup. It was the Heinz bottle.
That's tomato sauce.
Shiny.
Yeah.
Shiny.
Well, not over here.
Okay, there's ketchup, and then there's tomatoes, right? You don't crush tomatoes and get ketchup, right?
You milk the rad cows. That's what you get.
Okay. Where are we in the video? I can't remember.
I think we are.
We were talking about the IMF. Yes, the IMF has supported.
It's got to get to the Patreon. Oh, he's already showed his Patreon.
He already mentioned it, so he's not going to do it again. So the IMF has supported dictatorships that have gone against communist regimes, and I think he doesn't like that because he likes communism. But that's neither good nor bad. That's just what it does, or it has done. We have to understand what he's specifically talking about to have some context to what that meant. So there are arguments against the IMF. There are arguments for giving food and money and resources to other countries, part of this giant system that does it. Why it's good, why it's bad, why it's inefficient, why it's its own entity now and taking the majority of the proceeds. There's lots of problems with government agencies. We get it. Which is ironic because if he's arguing against, this giant government agency is trying to destroy socialism or communism, it's like, what the hell do you think communism is? Oh, boy.
You think communism isn't trying to destroy capitalism
in
a billion ways? Oh wait, that was literal purpose. And that's the whole thing of the revolutions and trying to inspire revolutions. And they fought countries. They interfered with elections. They interfered. They held elections, which were completely false.
And if the IMF was controlled by a communist government, then what would you say? Well, it's just a bigger government, which happens to be communist, which is supporting regimes.
We'll totally put elections in these in Poland and all these other countries who are currently occupying.
I'm not talking about the history.
And communist.
Right. Okay.
They just happen to be communist guys.
Right. But what I'm trying to say is
somehow all the other. You can go as much.
I'm trying to say the IMF is just a big government body with a lot of resources, which is doing whatever it wants, shutting out other forms of government, which happen to be communism, when that's all it is anyway, is a big body of government dictating to throw resources at a bunch of people who could be freedom fighters, who could be another form of government, whatever. It's choosing winners and doing its job, which is what it's supposed to do. And he doesn't like that because the job it's doing is taking out communist groups. So I don't know how you make that argument unless you give specific examples, because you could say those groups could be rebels, they could be freedom fighters, they could be all sorts of things. So, and I'm not saying the IMF is good. I don't know enough. But we just need to get some context for why he thinks it's bad. Aside from it stops communism. It's like, that sounds okay. What's wrong with that?
Reject these arguments when they were brought to me. So I can really pinpoint my political shift, and I'm not saying Metal Gear Solid and Hideo Kojima made me play his games and one day I woke up and I was completely changed, because I wasn't. It's a very, very long process. I always loved history.
Wait a second. Does that mean playing all the games in succession for a long period of time will make you a communist?
Yes. Of course.
Why your video is called that way if the games didn't change you?
I didn't know that. I mean, I really did pay attention to some of the games, but they were so stupid and crazy that I couldn't believe that they're real, so I just took them for a laugh. Especially that when I started throwing grenades at the B-man, and he was stunned because grenades are bad, like smoke grenades are bad for bees, as opposed to real grenades, which don't work as well. Smoke grenades bad. Real grenades, a little bit of damage. Yeah.
Always loved politics. I always loved video games. I love these Metal Gear Solid games, but I feel like they ate away at the indoctrination. They ate away at my, I guess, liberal brainwashing. And I've done education most of my life. I did it all the way to master's level, and I never had a break. I never took a gap year. And for most of that time, even though I was very smart, I knew all this stuff, I could quote you figures, I could quote you facts, I could write you an essay, the political theory was lacking. And like I said before, I feel like Kojima just showed me there was more to life than West.
Okay, wait, slow down here. All right. If you're studying nonstop politics and you think Hideo Kojima has opened your eyes, what the hell were you doing all that time? What in God's blue earth were you listening to? Which books were you reading?
I'm just fucking baffled. Like, he's literally like, I've basically spent my entire life in the education system, and I'm not indoctrinated.
This sounds like a fucking Christian talking about how he came to be Christian, like how he started seeing Jesus Christ. It's like, I was so wrong before, but now I'm seeing the light.
Yeah, he looks like that. And even I am a Christian, I was saying, yeah, he looks like.
Well, it's weird for people to study
It's like everyone else is just wrong, and they've been led astray for believing different than me. Anyone else who literally disagrees with me is brainwashed by Western society and capitalists.
I've studied all this time, but it took a video game series to open my eyes. And you're like, really? Bunch of giant robots shooting nuclear weapons at each other is open your eyes to what exactly? The IMF is bad? Communism good? I just don't know what to say. I can't make that connection.
I don't think there is something to say.
In history. So I feel like if you haven't played these and you've listened to me ramble on about this whole thing, please play them. Play the big boss games, I'd say, if you want an easy in. Play 3, Peace Walker, and 5, and maybe check out the others that are a bit more heavy. But yeah, in the comments, let me know if you have any similar stories. If you like the video, please like and maybe share. Please subscribe to the channel.
I used to be a communist till I took an arrow to the dick.
Check out all my social medias in the description, at The Cavernacle on Twitter and Instagram. Subreddit is r/TheCavernacle. Personal Reddit is u/TommyCahill1995. If you want to check out my Patreon, that is also in the description, with my WordPress, Medium, and the new episode of my podcast where me and my girlfriend talk about growing up on social media. And if you made it this far, thank you for watching.
All right.
A podcast where he and his girlfriend talk about growing up in social media. You grow up in social media?
So this is my
I think it just means like growing up like while social media like
with
exists.
Social media, not in social media, with social media. You don't grow up in social media.
All right, so here's my bingo card. I don't know how you guys did, but I did not get bingo. He didn't specifically say capitalism was bad, but you were getting the impression because everything else around it was good, so I assumed the opposite. Colonialism and American bad when he was talking about the Panama Canal and all what America was doing to Cuba. Nicaragua. The dreaded T word that was brought up. Just
Message
reference.
Patching it through.
Problematic.
What's the dreaded T word?
Themes.
Themes.
Oh.
The problematic that was he was talking about. Quiet.
The titty.
Titties, yeah.
I just decided to look a bit into what his Discord was because I saw he had a Discord, and almost immediately I'm met with this. I'll see if I can just paste it. There you go. This is what I'm immediately met by: a list of demands saying, first read the rules, then watch the videos, learn the basics of progressive politics. Essential
theory.
Message coming in.
Learn about contemporary
Patching
politics explained. And then all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
It's a good thing he's anti-indoctrination, you know. It's a good thing he's anti-indoctrination, you know.
He's
That's really the impression.
American Western indoctrination. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because that's indoctrination.
Jokes are fine, but remember, humor is not an acceptable shield, especially in the case against minorities and underprivileged groups. No incitement of political violence allowed.
What? Incitement
I
of
wonder
political
how evenly that's applied.
Let's go overthrow a small African country. Like what?
Sexual harassment in the same rule. They're not exactly the same thing. Okay, what else has he got in this insane? Okay, so he's got 150-ish members. Oh, I got kicked out of it.
Why?
I didn't do anything.
What happened?
I don't know. I was kicked out of Discord.
That was quick.
What did you do, Shiny?
I didn't post anything.
Wait, will I be kicked out this quickly?
I don't know.
Maybe they're watching. Maybe the mods are watching the stream.
All right.
I'm banned. I did not post anything. Here's this screenshot.
Wow.
Banned from
That's like the
skill.
quickest. That's like the quickest.
So you're trying to say his Discord is very strict.
Error. The user is
Holy
banned
shit,
from the skill.
That's funny.
Anyway,
Wow.
Anyway,
That's fucking funny.
I'm gonna.
I mean, I would understand if I don't know. I was LitDev or Smud, someone who's a bit bigger and a bit well known, or if I don't know if it was Mola or I don't know, fucking pick anyone. But I'm someone small and very like no one fucking knows who I am. And yet they just banned me almost immediately after looking a little bit.
Mods might be watching the stream. That's what.
You know what?
It could be that.
Might be
There,
happening.
there could be a block list on Discord.
I was considering
No.
that. It might
I was
be some
in
kind
the
of
server.
blockchain.
I was in there.
Oh, you were in there for a
No, it
second.
literally banned like.
I was banned
there now.
right now. Like I was looking through the server, and then just
I
as
tried to join, but I immediately got banned. Like the second I clicked, can I look?
Oh wait.
sure
You know what that is?
stream.
You know what that is? It's
I'm pretty
probably
sure they're
a
watching the stream.
Patreon. It's probably a Patreon enabled Discord, so that if you want to join, you have to first sign up for his Patreon, and then you get a role.
the link is in his video already, so he's got.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it's my unofficial Discord. In video description is a link my unofficial Discord.
Yep, it's even description in pinned comment. He is actively promoting his unofficial Discord.
And he's just banning people?
Insta. I couldn't even look at the single chat. I got banned.
Huh. Yeah, he's watching.
What is going on here?
Create an account just to spy in on them to know. All right, okay. Here we
Name
come.
your account absolutely not ShinyFX.
Email, username.
Hey, Shiny, write him an email. Say, can I join your Discord, please? I got kicked out for some reason. Just innocent email. Go ahead, just to see what happens.
It's a clone. It's a clone of Shiny.
Yeah. Shiny's a nice guy.
Totally not Shiny. I want to see how long it takes. Oh, password is fucking too common. There we go. Okay.
I wonder if
not
that would be
sure.
a good password, to be fair.
First Discord server. Okay. Continue to Discord.
That's fucking funny.
Okay, I want to see how long it takes for me to get banned again.
It was fantastic. Like, I couldn't even look at anything. I was like, no, you're banned.
What, they banned you as well?
Yeah, I tried to get in. I clicked yes, and then it suddenly quit the window, so I was like, eh? So I tried to join again, and said, you're banned.
I just got banned.
All right, well, that's just weird. Whatever. Let's just keep going. We're going to be here for a while. Okay, so what else did I cross? Takes the scene out of context. What scene was out of context? I'm trying to remember. He stated...
Just the tapes and
the language.
stuff?
Oh, it was the language about English, and he was talking about how it's interesting to him why English was conquering the world, or the language. It's fascinating, whereas in the context of the scene, it was about learning that there was a virus or a bacteria being made specific to the English language being used. And he took that to interpret as something else. Rambles off topic. I think that was... I guess that should be the center, I think, of all these videos. They just sort of say whatever they want. But he did a few of those things.
Well, says nothing of value with that. Mark
I don't know. It's hard to grasp that, because he could have been referring to a topic that was relevant, but at least he was talking about Metal Gear, so it was relevant to the title.
What about the representation thing for Nicaragua?
I don't think that's really a racial thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Toxic Masculinity was about the body of Eva, and Quiet. Yeah. So I didn't get bingo, unfortunately.
I keep trying to join with a new account, but I don't know why it's not letting me hop in.
Shiny, just send him an email and say, please commit. That's it.
Nah, I don't think I care enough.
Okay, fine. All right. Read some super chats. We'll call it an evening. The Spawn Camp. Thank you. I always felt Metal Gear was more libertarian in nature. It did influence me closer to libertarianism. Okay, that's... I don't know where that's coming from.
That is an interpretation.
Yeah, I don't know how we are inspired by...
Probably because of Solid Snake.
I would say because of MSF, because it's this independent company that just happens to be warlike or being militaristic, that it is lending itself to people just wanting to do their own thing, regardless of boundaries. So...
that's also kind of the ideal behind it.
That was the concept of the outer heaven, that you exist in your own little world and you fight for whoever has the highest coin, and you don't care about the politics of the world, essentially.
Just basically loyalty to your own.
Right. Do what you want. People give you funds for doing the stuff that you want to do. Ultimate Fatty, thanks again. I haven't been following Smud for very long, but have you guys ever considered anyone so profoundly stupid? Oh, yes. Oh, no. Cavernacle seems intelligent. He just seems so biased that he can't see beyond his bias. So I don't think he's stupid. I just think he's...
I think he's a midwit.
He's entrenched.
I think he's not that smart, but he's not like... he's not like some idiot.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. He's what's the term? Yeah, you're right. He's so blinded by what he learned that he can't see other things. He's not intelligent enough to appreciate those things. Or if he is,
there's a lack of mindfulness.
Well, I don't know, because something must have happened to him where capitalism is horrible. Like, it's absolutely disgusting to him, and he's not considering anything of the West, which is fine. But to disregard it completely and say it's evil, or to say that communism is the only solution, is bizarre. Like, I don't have anything wrong with people disliking capitalism, because it's not perfect. I have nothing against that. But to suddenly say I'm a communist is like, well, wait a second. You do realize what communism has done to the world.
Yeah, because that's not just rejecting one thing; it's embracing another, which is a totally different thing.
Yeah, and to make up shit like Middle East economics or whatever. Anyway.
Oh,
you need to see the world through the perspective of Middle Eastern economics.
That shit they kept doing at fucking uni, kind of inventing new stuff for for quote unquote new concept. They're saying, look, we have to look at this from that perspective, so let's call it that new thing. It's because every one of those people wants to be the guy who invented the new field.
Really?
Invented that new thing that everybody then starts quoting. So sometimes they just take simple concepts that everybody knows. Make a new fancy word for it and go like, I invented it.
I sort of got that when I was studying psych, because everyone was learning about the Keirsey temperament scale and how you could profile people based off their desires and aptitudes. And I thought that's pretty cool, but then they were like trying to apply it to like criminal theory and forensics. And it's like, well, you can't profile criminals based off Keirsey temperaments and the big 5 traits and all these other things. It's like, it's not really applicable. And they were trying all these things. And they're like, that's a waste of time, guys. Just stop doing the math. You're killing yourself. Anyway, university. Solid Redfield. Hey again. One thing I've wondered is why so many bread tubers. Is this guy a bread tuber?
I would say
you can consider me.
Yeah, I would say pretty much
Okay.
bread tuber.
He seems to be talking similar things.
I don't know.
Like Voice is definitely a bread tuber.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Him and Baby Vosh.
He seems to be in the same kind of circles.
Xanderhall, who's basically a wannabe Vosh. I would say they're bread tubers. This guy, I don't know. He seems to be pretty nice and friendly, aside from banning you instantly from Discord.
He banned
I think I don't know. I'm trying to think of anyone like who we constantly shit on and disagree with a lot. I don't know. Even if someone like 8080 chat jumped into my Discord and started snooping around, it's like, I don't have anything to hide. Snoop all you want.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're looking for here. It's just a Discord.
Yeah, I don't have any rules on my. I have nothing. I just have a chat. A bunch of chat.
It's very noticeable as I get at everyone like every 5 minutes or something.
Well, we're slowly.
Wars. Oh yeah.
We're slowly getting rid of that. Sorry.
No, but Smud, trust me, you need to turn off at everyone on your Discord for the love of God.
I do manually through the channels. I go right click. I go to the settings and I find the everyone and. Home, and I think the other one is here, I think. And I just turn to X and I save it. And
you can make at everyone so no one can do it.
All right, I'll check again.
I have at everyone muted on every channel I join.
I know, I often do too, but the thing is then, not everyone does that. And back a while ago when someone was trying to move away from the DM group and move onto his Discord, we had to have at everyone turned on so that we would get notified of Smudcast. And obviously, at the moment I fucking turned it on, because I missed 2 Smudcasts, I get at everyone's like 20 fucking times and I have to mute it again.
Yeah, you know who else I think Dunn needs to do that too?
I mean, that's one of the first things I did to my Discord, stopping people doing at everyone.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's continue with the super chat. The bread tubers need to have flamboyant, overproduced backgrounds. At least that's one good thing about the Crappernacle, because it showcases his posters.
Well, it also showcases his chocolate.
Oh, and you're Swiss, therefore he's a good guy. He has good taste in chocolate.
God, that chocolate is in the video the entire time, and I didn't notice. I'm incredibly ashamed of myself.
I thought was the Amazing... Is that the Amazing Beast poster? Those 2 clocks with the guy in the foreground? I don't even know what those posters are.
Oh, that's Last Jedi.
Oh, that's Last Jedi, really?
Yeah, so you can see the Star Wars, the Last Jedi in the middle, and then that scene there is Kylo Ren overlooking the big hangar or construction area on the Mega Star Destroyer, and then that's the First Order symbol. You can easily see it, and he's got 2 Blade Runner posters, which I accidentally thought were something like Endgame, but yeah, you can see.
Is that 2049?
Yeah, I think it is. You can see at the bottom. Yeah. I don't know what the rest of them are though.
So
I think
wait a
that's
second.
Pirates of the
Are you saying
Caribbean.
he's a TLJ defender? Because that's
of course,
because that's in my bingo card. Oh, still no bingo. Oh crap! All right. never mind.
There's a free space you can go to.
Yeah, that's all right. Let's go on to the next one. The spawn camp.
Why does he have a mic all the way behind him as well?
Backup. He buys mics.
Just for looks. Just for looks.
Just have an extra mic. I don't know what it does. It's just all the way over there. It's in the background of my videos.
All right.
And then also, what did he? Oh no, never mind.
Here we go. MSF, the spawn camp. MSF, but also in Metal Gear Solid 2, Solid Snake telling Raiden to find something he believes in, anything, and pass it on to the future. I think it's the ending of the game, right? Where he has that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the final message, kind of.
It's such a
Snake
weird.
Tells Raiden.
It's so like after all that crap that happened, like he blew up like 17 or 18 Metal Gear Rays and fights Solidus with a sword or whatever, and you're just like, what the hell was that shit? And then Snake pops up. He's like, yeah, you gotta do something for the future. Like, what? What are you talking about? It's so corny. It's so dumb. It's so out of place.
I like Red Lightning's comment. The mic is for the chocolate. he believes in freedom of speech for chocolate. There you go.
The chocolate speaks so softly that no one can pick up.
It's because white chocolate's a minority.
But it makes you become a communist.
We must secure a future for our chocolate oranges and an existence for white chocolate.
He must be a good Christian boy because he believes in giving these gifts to boys and girls at Christmas. There you go. That's a British thing, right? You give children chocolates at Christmas.
What?
Yeah.
We give them fucking presents.
Yeah, but like chocolate oranges.
No, I get chocolate at Christmas.
Yeah.
You know.
I also got some.
There you go. Well, yeah, but
it's not the only thing I get.
This is like chocolate every week.
I know. Germany
butter,
is
chocolate,
like big on giving chocolates and stuff as presents for Christmas. More,
they do just a massive German sausage in a stocking.
That doesn't sound so bad.
Yeah, Bratwurst.
I would say yes to that because I love sausages, sauerkraut especially. Anything that
it's just like a comically large sausage. Like you go to pull it out and it just keeps coming. Like there's just infinite sausage.
Yeah. The best kind when you have a delicatessen you go into, you see this giant sausage on the top of the ceiling. And you're like, oh my god, I want that.
I love
sauerkraut. It's like Mary Poppins handbag, but it's a stocking and a sausage.
Yeah. Any excuse to have sauerkraut is like, yes, I want.
Or as we call it, Surkrut.
Surkrut? Ooh, neat. No, I just had some today. I love sauerkraut. It's like to me, it's like almost the perfect meal. It has salty, sweet, sour, savory.
By the way, Smud, why did you think he was giving it to other people? Because the way it's stacked on his desk, to me, very much looks like that's all for him.
You know what? I don't do that.
This isn't even Christmas, is it?
So
this video.
I don't know. Usually,
that's his breakfast for the week.
Oh my god!
No. Those are gifts. I'm sure that
you're really trying to.
Yeah, no.
You're really trying to.
If it was miniature panettone, or if it was like something I could relate to, like these are gifts.
Panettone.
Yeah, panettone is just everyone loves panettone.
Though I personally prefer Pandoro.
Torone?
Panettone is a.
You know,
it's pretty good. I hate it. Here in Brazil, we eat a lot in Christmas.
Something cake-like, but personally, I prefer Pandoro.
Yes. Everyone, that's a standard one. Everyone likes. I prefer the standard orange rind and raisins and dried fruit. Those are the classics.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good forever. Any time of day, any time of year. So, but the weird ones like with the cream and the mascarpone cheese and the chocolate filling, it's like, oh god, what are you doing? It's too much.
At some point, it becomes too decadent.
It's a cake. You're eating a gigantic cake at that point. I can't eat this. This is crazy. No one can eat this. I wanted a light, fluffy snack, not a giant hunk of cake. So, I think you said torone. Torone is that weird taffy. Comes in many flavors and consistencies, which is
well, I mean, also the Pandoro, like the one that has nothing in it.
Yeah,
that's just the cake.
Yeah, that's fine too.
So, before you were talking about like why do communists constantly like what do they see in it? And I think the allure of communism has always been like it offers some kind of perfect society and perfect everything.
But
if the state makes sure it's perfect, then it's going to be perfect.
But that's impossible because we've seen it happen and it doesn't work.
I mean, it's constantly not worked in practice, but it's like, oh well, in theory, it works magically.
Yeah,
and
but
we're
so
all going to
does-
have magical ponies.
So does
and we're all
any-
going to be swimming across rainbows.
I mean, I've seen so many criticisms for Plato's Republic, as idealistic and beautiful as it sounds, and arguments look good. If you were to even try to take away someone's resources, like take away the shirt off their back and say, you're going to be a philosopher king starting today, you're going to be the wisest of us, we're going to help you, you're going to own nothing, you have no relationships, you can't have a wife, you can't do anything except for serve the state, that person would say no. I don't think so. Now, the argument that if you take away money out of politics is a fine argument. So that would be interesting. And you could try doing that in very small ways. Like, let's say every every congressman or every parliamentarian has to get the same wage as the average countryman. So you take the average of what the middle class is making, what the rich are making, whatever, and you say, okay, you're making $20,000 a year now. Do you think many people would want to be politicians? Probably not. But the ones who do, they're in it for a different reason than the money. So, anyway, I don't want to ramble about politics because I hate it. Cavernacle, what a guy, huh? Fantastic stuff. I mean, that was just an amazing January. That's the best video of the year we've ever done. So,
but you need to at least learn the basics of progressive politics before you get into his Discord. Otherwise, he's not going to be very happy.
Oh my God. Do you have to pass all those checks, Shiny? Who was that card you gave me? Start by reading the rules. Did you click on the rules?
So
Shiny?
So you have to... I did look at the rules, and I said I didn't go over all of them, but because they're pretty much the same. No racism, no sexism. One of them was you can't use jokes as a shield for discriminating against minorities and historically oppressed groups. And then he also said he put sexual harassment and NSFW work in like the exact same rule for some reason, even though they're very much different things. And then learn about contemporary politics is another one that he's put on the list of things you need to do.
Learn about the basics of progressive politics. Learn about contemporary politics. Wow! I can't wait to join. I can't wait to join that Discord. That'll be fun. So much fun to be had.
I just really wanted. I was actually curious in what they actually did in that server. Like, what was the kind of things they talked about? But I guess we'll never know. Again,
I was just curious if I get banned.
Okay, you know what? I'm going to put his Discord link in chat. You can all go scout out and report. Okay, trust me. This is not a terrible idea at all. Okay, here...
I disavow.
Be
I
nice.
disavow Smudcast. If this becomes a big drama thing, I disavow.
Okay.
I disavow.
Okay, I'm going to put the link in chat.
Just be spies, okay, guys?
Be very
Just
nice. Don't at everyone.
Okay, yeah, that's what we're gonna say. Don't harass. Don't say anything mean. Don't be nasty.
The official position of Smudcast.
we are actually legitimately just curious what the hell's going on, and you can report back to us in our Discords.
Please tell me if you get banned. Please tell me if you get banned.
Yeah, because I got banned pretty quickly, and I can't get back in.
Me too, instantly. I couldn't even get in.
Oh, come on, none of you want to be spies for us? Oh.
We gave you a spot on the panel here.
No one wants to be spies. Oh.
I think people on the Discord will be...
I'm sad
people
now.
on Discord will be more willing to be the spies.
Oh, here's one more super chat.
I just wanted to know what the hell they do in their Discord. That's all I want to know.
You know who promised Utopia? Hitler. Oh, isn't that nice? Promising.
See, the problem is he only killed 6 million.
So
He didn't
Utopia
kill enough to reach communists.
He was so
but
close.
they hate him.
Utopia was only so close, but if only killed 1 million more. Anyway, okay, guys, I think we've exhausted ourselves. We're coming on 3 hours and a half.
Yeah.
That was another Cavernacle video. What a guy. What a fantastic gamer weirdo political fellow. Anyway, thanks for their suggestion. We were debating to do this other one, which was slightly shorter, but maybe we'll never do it again. We don't know. But thanks for the suggestions. Keep the ideas coming. I'll be updating the list at the end of the week because I want to go over through the older ones first before we add new ones. I know you guys want to do the new ones too, so I'm trying to give the older ones an opportunity. But keep voting. I'll be clearing up the list for tonight, I hope, if not tomorrow morning. And we'll be doing another vote and see you hopefully real soon. So thanks, guys. That was great. That was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah. So have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.